Outside stretched an endless wasteland. Frigid night winds swirled, sending sand and dust billowing through the air. The dilapidated thatched hut shook violently in the gale, creaking shrilly. Lin Yu's eyes flew open. Above him was a leaky roof woven from straw. Cold wind mixed with sand stung his face mercilessly. Cough, cough. Lin Yu coughed violently and struggled to get to his feet. An overwhelming wave of hunger crashed over his body all at once. It felt as though a fire burned wildly in his stomach, sapping his strength and making spots dance before his eyes. Where am I? Did I just transmigrate? He remembered pulling an all-nighter playing games in his university dorm. How had he ended up in this godforsaken place in the blink of an eye? Before he could sort out his thoughts, a cold, emotionless mechanical voice echoed inside every survivor's mind simultaneously. Welcome to the savage wilderness survival world. Here, you are both survivors and prey. Survival is your only objective. Hint 1. Every survivor begins with a basic shelter and a stone axe. Hint 2. The first 3 days constitute the new player protection period. You are invulnerable inside your shelter, yet no guarantees hold once you step outside. Hint 3. Survivors are advised to gather as many supplies as possible during the day. Venturing out at night carries extreme danger. Hint 4. Survivors, you possess but one life. Death means true death. Hint 5. Each survivor may randomly awaken one talent at the start. Talent ranks range from F grade up to SSS grade. Hint 6. Once the new player protection period ends, the first random natural disaster will descend. Survival countdown has commenced. Good luck to you all. As the voice faded, a translucent blue panel materialized before Lin Yu's eyes. The interface was concise, much like the online games he had played. Character stats, regional chat, friends, trade, backpack. He opened regional chat, where messages were already flooding in. Li Jia, what the hell is going on? I was sleeping at home. Zhang Shuai. All my comments on free web novels finally paid off. Transmigration has come for me at last. Yuan Chongyang. Is this some prank? Let me out. I'm calling the police. Lin Luo, I'm starving. Does anyone have food? I'll trade my brand new gear for it. Su Yueshi, my thatched hut leaks wind. Wild beasts are howling outside. I'm genuinely terrified. Xiao San, this isn't real. It's all a prank. I'm heading outside to check it out. Region 9527 population 9999/10,000. Seeing that number, Lin Yu's heart sank. People really could die here. That survivor named Xiao San must have stepped out of his shelter at night and gotten killed by some unknown horror lurking in the dark. Howl! From far out in the wilderness came a deafening beast roar. The sound carried far, shaking dry grass loose from the leaky thatched hut. Lin Yu shivered. Survival instinct kicked in, and his mind cleared fast. Open character stats panel. Lin Yu thought silently. A pale, blue translucent light curtain unfolded in front of him. Name, Lin Yu. Age, 21. Gender, male. Realm, none. Talent, not yet drawn. Base stats, Constitution 7, Strength 7, Agility 8, Spirit 11. Average adult male equals 10. Status, severe hunger, mild dehydration, severe fatigue. Lin Yu let out a bitter laugh. Before arriving in this savage world, he had pulled 2 consecutive all-nighters gaming, eating only a dry instant noodle pack 5 hours earlier. This was an absolutely terrible starting situation. Only the talent entry glowed on the character stats interface. Draw talent, Lin Yu mentally commanded. As an experienced online game player and novel enthusiast, he knew full well that one's starting talent largely shaped one's future prospects. Ding. Drawing talent. Congratulations. You have obtained C-grade talent, Spirit Aura Affinity, and X-grade talent, Infinite Derivation. What was this? Lin Yu stared in shock, his mind racing. You were supposed to draw only 1 talent. Why had he gotten 2? Talents were supposed to range from F grade to SSS grade. What even was this X grade talent? Talent ranks from lowest to highest. F, E, D, C, B, A, S, SS, SSS. To confirm he was not hallucinating, he reopened the character stats panel. The talent section no longer read, not yet drawn. C, grade talent, Spirit Aura Affinity. Effect, your perception of Spirit Aura surpasses ordinary people. Cultivation speed plus 10%. It was an unremarkable talent. A mere 10% boost to cultivation speed was barely helpful. Besides, early game survival revolved around food, water, and shelter upgrades. Cultivation was the farthest thing from his mind right now. Then there was his other talent. X, grade talent, Infinite Derivation. Effect, at midnight every day, You randomly derive and permanently gain one new talent. Talent rank is random, and effects may stack infinitely. Reading that description, Lin Yu's breath quickened. Every single day, he got a brand. New random talent, permanent, and stackable without limit. This was pure recursive power scaling. As long as he stayed alive, his collection of talents would keep growing, eventually reaching terrifying, unimaginable heights. Gurgle, a sharp cramp in his stomach cut through his excitement. Crushing hunger coated him in cold sweat, draining his stamina rapidly. If he found no food, he might not even make it through the night. Even if he survived till dawn, he would lack the strength to scavenge for supplies. Gritting his teeth, Lin Yu glanced at the time in the panel's upper right corner. 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 45 seconds. Only 15 seconds remained until midnight. Everything hinges on this first derivation. Lin Yu fixed his gaze on the timer and prayed inwardly. 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Midnight. The instant the clock rolled over, a cold system prompt boomed inside his head. Ding. Infinite derivation activated. Randomizing today's talent. Ding. Congratulations. You have obtained F, grade talent, hunger resistance. F, grade talent, hunger resistance. Effect. Your stomach physiology is altered. Energy consumption drops by 90%. You maintain normal bodily functions without food and are immune to weakness debuffs caused by hunger. As the prompt finished, cool energy flooded into his stomach out of nowhere. The burning agony and gnawing cramps vanished in an instant. His aching limbs regained vitality, and Lin Yu's spirits soared. I'm not hungry anymore. He patted his stomach, overcome with wild joy. The severe hunger status entry had disappeared, though it was merely the lowest, rank F, grade talent. In this food-scarce early game phase, it was practically a god skill. He no longer needed to risk his life searching for food, nor would hunger cripple his mobility. Lin Yu took a deep breath and reopened regional chat. The channel was now filled with despairing messages. Xiejiao, help. Does anyone have water to spare? I'm dying of thirst. Lin Wenwen, it's terrifying out there. A spider as big as a millstone crawled past my door. I was terrified out of my wits. Tang Yueru, this rotten thatched hut blocks almost no wind. Cold gusts keep blowing in. I'm going to catch a cold. AI Cohen, anyone got food? I'll trade my designer suit for a pack of biscuits. Lu Meng, a suit? Worthless out here. Might as well accept your fate. Scrolling through these messages, Lin Yu appreciated just how precious hunger resistance truly was. He had pulled through. Once daylight came, he could leave the shelter to gather supplies. Dawn broke, and Lin Yu woke from the cold. His stamina had partially recovered, enough for free movement. His severe fatigue status had shifted to mild fatigue. Opening his eyes, he continued reading the chat feed. Qian Duo, has everyone drawn their talent yet? Li Jia, sure I did. I got F, grade hot, water enthusiast. I want to cry. What good is this? Zhang Shuai, I pulled C grade strength amplification. 20% strength boost. Hee. Right then, an unusual message popped up. Lei Kuang, I awakened B grade lightning mastery. I can summon electric arcs in my palms. Lei Kuang, survivors of region 9527. I'm forming an alliance. Join me, and you'll eat well. Those with decent talents, sign up now. This post triggered a flood of flattering replies. Lin Luo, wow. B grade lightning mastery. Big boss, take me in. Li Jia, boss Lei is awesome. I got F grade hot, water enthusiast. Can I join? Li Ergu, Lord Lei, grant me shelter. Qian Duo, I advise everyone not to reveal your talents. They are your foundation for survival and growth. Don't let malicious people target you. Zhang Shuai, Qian Duo, you were the one asking about talents in the first place. Now you say hide them. My talent is already out there. Li Jia, whatever. Let everyone know about hot, water enthusiast. Qian Duo at Zhang Shuai, you had to run your mouth. Most survivors remained sensible and kept their talents hidden. Lin Yu read through the thread and weighed everything carefully. Lei Kuang's B grade lightning mastery was genuinely powerful, granting him huge advantages in the early stage. Even Zhang Shuai's C grade strength amplification was highly practical, perfect for felling trees. None of them knew he possessed the game. Breaking X grade talent of infinite stacking. If he survived this difficult early game development phase, he would undoubtedly become one of the strongest survivors alive. Having thought it through, Lin Yu closed the chat window. His body felt no pangs of hunger, and a plan took shape in his mind. Since he did not need to hunt for food, he possessed far more usable time than everyone else. Before night fell, he had to gather enough materials to upgrade his leaky thatched hut. Lin Yu's gaze fell upon his shelter. Crooked wooden posts formed its frame, topped with a shoddy layer of dry straw. Walls were plastered mud mixed with weeds, split by large cracks through which frigid wind streamed. He focused his sight, and translucent stats appeared. Leaky thatched hut, rank. First, rank low, grade durability. 2/5 defense. 3 description. A thatched hut that could blow away in a strong gale. Protected by world rules, so wild beasts cannot enter. Upgrade requirements. Timber 0/10, thatch 0/10. The digitized display was clear and straightforward. Lin Yu glanced toward the corner of the hut, where the starting tool given to every survivor lay. He bent down and picked it up. A rough, unpeeled wooden stick, with a sharp gray stone bound to its tip using dry vines. Light in hand, with poor balance. Crude stone axe, rank, none durability. 10 tints description, barely serviceable for felling trees. Utterly useless in combat. Lin Yu hefted the axe and gripped it firmly. He walked to the door and pushed open the rickety portal patched together from broken planks. Squeak. Biting cold wind hit him full in the face. Shivering, he tightened his thin clothing and stepped outside the shelter. The sky was dim and gray. Stretching out before him lay dead, looking brown, gray earth. Cracked soil dotted with gravel, rolling desolate hills vanishing over the horizon. Scattered low shrubs and a few bare dead trees dotted the landscape. Lin Yu looked around. No streams, no fruit trees, not a single living creature in sight for the moment. Finding food and water will be pure luck out here, he muttered to himself. Most people in regional chat worried over every scrap of food. Starvation, weakened survivors venturing out would likely die. Lin Yu's stomach stayed comfortably warm. Hunger did not trouble him at all. His hunger resistance talent was doing its work. Following classic survival, game logic, upgrading the shelter was top priority. He would gather materials for the upgrade first. He set his sights on the nearest dead tree and strode forward. The trunk was roughly thigh-thick. Its bark had peeled away long ago, exposing dark gray wood. Planting his feet wide, Lin Yu gripped the axe handle tightly and swung hard toward the trunk's base. Thud! A dull impact. Recoil jarred his wrists, nearly tearing the axe from his hands. Stabilizing himself, he saw the result. A cut less than half a centimeter deep, with a few wood chips scattered on the ground. Lin Yu shook his aching wrists. His strength stat was only 7. Years of late night gaming had left his body in poor condition. Explosive power and stamina were both terrible. Efficiency is far too low. Frowning at the shallow gash, he readjusted his grip. He swung again. Thud, thud. On the wasteland, the monotonous sound of chopping echoed. After more than 300 heavy blows, Lin Yu halted, gasping for breath. Sweat beaded on his forehead. His arms trembled with muscle soreness. At last the trunk snapped. As the dead tree crashed down, crisp system notifications echoed in his mind. Ding. Logging successful. Obtained. Timber *3. 3 units of timber appeared in his backpack, core material for shelter upgrades. He checked the stone axe's stats. Durability was dropping faster than expected. Durability. 8 out of 10 felling one dead tree had taken nearly an hour, cost 2 axe durability points, and yielded 3 timber. Lin Yu stowed the axe in his backpack and walked over to a nearby bush. He tore loose a clump of dry weeds. Ding. Gathering successful. Obtained. Thatch *1. Harvesting thatch cost almost no stamina and required no tools. Lin Yu gathered nearby thatch quickly. Within 10 minutes, he had collected 10 units. Since thatch could also be used for fire and warmth, he gathered an extra 20 units. The soreness in his arms eased slightly. Pulling out his stone axe once more, he moved to an even larger dead tree and resumed logging. As he worked, he wondered how the other survivors were holding up. Regional chat. Yuan Chongyang. This lousy stone axe. Durability drains so fast when felling trees. Liam, that's not the main problem. I have no stamina left to chop wood. I haven't eaten in ages. Lin Luo. Same here. Qian Duo. Given current stamina levels, gathering enough timber for a shelter upgrade would take at least 2 days, and that assumes you find food. Zhang Shuai. My talent helps a lot. My logging efficiency is great. Hehe Li Jia. I'm so jealous. Anyone know where to get food? I'm starving. Lin Yu had eaten nothing, yet hunger resistance kept hunger-related debuffs at bay. He functioned like a tireless worker, a supreme grinder, who said a horse had to be fed to run. For more hours passed. He felled 3 further dead trees. The stone axe's durability hit 0. Its wooden handle split apart from the stone head, completely broken. In exchange, his backpack held timber *18. Though the sky remained gray, sunset was still some time away. Lin Yu decided to scout the surroundings of his shelter. Finding food or water would be ideal. Holding the broken wooden axe handle, he ventured cautiously deeper into the wasteland. His rule was simple: flee straight back to the shelter at the first sign of danger. Wind carrying abrasive sand stung his cheeks. He trod across parched brown, gray soil, moving carefully. The scenery was hopelessly monotonous: rolling desolate hills, scattered dead trees, weathered boulders. After walking roughly 2 kilometers, a stretch of jagged rock flats came into view. Sharp, edged stones littered the ground, perfect for collecting. Dense thickets of dead timber stood nearby. This spot is good for stone and timber, yet there is not a single living plant anywhere. Lin Yu knelt and pinched a handful of dry sand. No living vegetation meant no fruit and no surface, level water sources. Standing up, he prepared to scavenge stones from the rock flats, when a gray shape flashed far ahead in his field of vision. Lin Yu froze, dropping low behind a boulder. 100 meters away on a sand dune stood a wolf as large as a calf. Its coat was coarse and ash gray, its back hunched, limbs thick and powerful. It sniffed the ground. Suddenly it lifted its head, glowing emerald eyes sweeping the surroundings, a low snarl rumbling in its throat. Even from 100 meters away, its feral aura sent chills down Lin Yu's spine. Not taking any chances, without hesitation Lin Yu turned and retreated swiftly, moving as quietly as he could. His strength was only 7, and he did not even possess a working axe anymore. As a late-game powerhouse, picking fights with wild monsters this early was suicide. Surviving by laying low was the only sensible path. He made it safely back to his shelter, slammed the rickety wooden door shut, braced his back against it, and let out a long breath. It's far too dangerous out there. The shelter is way better. Dusk fell outside the shelter. Daytime in this wild survival world clearly lasted far shorter than in the real world. Lin Yu steadied his breathing and pulled up his backpack interface. The backpack held 10 slots. 2 of them contained wood times 18 and thatch times 30. These made up Lin Yu's entire stock of supplies. His gaze drifted to his drafty thatch hut. The upgrade requirements had long since been met. Upgrade requirements: wood 18 tenths, thatch 30 out of 10 system, upgrade the shelter, Lin Yu thought silently. Ding. Detected sufficient materials. Consume wood times 10 and thatch times 10 to upgrade the shelter? Yes. The moment the words echoed in his mind, the materials vanished from his backpack. Soft white light wrapped the ramshackle hut. From within the glow came the click of timbers fitting together and the rustle of woven thatch, lasting roughly 10 seconds. The light faded. The lopsided, collapsing hovel was gone. In its place stood a solid-built small house capped with a thick, neat layer of thatch. The hut had grown considerably. Where it had once spanned roughly 10 square meters, it now covered at least 15. Wall gaps were tightly sealed with mud and crushed grass. The broken wooden door had been replaced by a sturdy single-panel wooden door. Most noticeably, wind no longer whistled inside, and the living space was much larger. Lin Yu quickly opened the new shelter status panel. Thatch hut rank: low, grade tier, 1 durability, 10 tenths defense, 8. Description: a rudimentary shelter that keeps out wind and rain. Improved defense can withstand brief attacks from ordinary wild beasts. Interior space expanded to 15 square meters. Slightly enhanced heat retention. Next, tier upgrade requirements: wood 8/50ths, thatch 20/50ths, stone 0/30ths. Now that's what I call a sense of safety. Lin Yu ran a hand over the solid wall and smiled. The material cost for the next upgrade looked daunting, especially the wood and stone, but at least he would not freeze through the night. The instant Lin Yu finished upgrading his shelter, 3 glowing lines of golden text appeared on the regional channel, accompanied by the system's emotionless notification tone. Regional announcement: congratulations to survivor Lin Yu from Zone 9527 for being the first to upgrade a shelter to low, grade tier 1 thatch hut. Regional announcement: congratulations to survivor Lin Yu from Zone 9527 for being the first to upgrade a shelter to low, grade tier 1 thatch hut. Regional announcement: congratulations to survivor Lin Yu from Zone 9527 for being the first to upgrade a shelter to low, grade tier 1 thatch hut. The important notice repeated 3 times. Immediately afterwards, a separate prompt popped up before Lin Yu. Ding. As the first survivor in this region to upgrade a shelter to low, grade tier 1, you have been rewarded. Iron chest times 1. More regional announcements followed. Regional announcement: to encourage exploration, random chests will spawn in the wilderness starting tomorrow. Chest ranks from lowest to highest: wooden, iron, bronze, silver, gold, dark gold. Opening chests yields random blueprints, food, water, equipment, and other supplies. Opportunity comes with danger. All survivors are advised to act prudently. A jet, black metal, sheen chest materialized on the ground at Lin Yu's feet. Lin Yu glanced at the chest, then at the still, blinking regional announcements, and frowned slightly. First, upgrade reward. I've drawn way too much attention. That clashed directly with his plan to lie low and develop quietly. Why could the system not hide his name? Every message posted to the regional channel displayed the sender's real survivor ID. He opened the regional chat. Messages scrolled past at a dizzying rate. Ligia, holy crap. I haven't even had a sip of water yet, and some big shot has already upgraded their house. Zhang Shui Linyu? I've memorized that name. Even with my strength boost talent, cutting trees drains me. How did he pull that off? Lin Wenwen. Linyu, are you there? Could you help me out? I'm willing to work hard for just a little food and water. Qian Duo. Chests will spawn out in the wild. Looks like I have to take risks tomorrow. Gathering basic resources alone won't keep anyone alive. Zone 9527 was in an uproar. Some burned with envy, others stared in shock. For most, drowning in despair, Lin Yu's achievement offered a glimmer of hope. Somebody really could turn things around on the very first day. Lin Yu skimmed a few messages and closed the channel. He understood full well that wealth ought not to be flaunted. Countless eyes were fixed on the name Lin Yu. Once the new player protection period ended, ill-intentioned people would very likely come looking for trouble. Stay low-key, stay safe. Tomorrow I'll keep unlocking new talents. Shutting out the chat, Lin Yu knelt and laid his hand on the iron chest's latch. Meanwhile, far across Zone 9527, inside another still, drafty thatch hut, a burly, fierce-faced man stared at the regional chat panel. Blue, white electric arcs crackled in his palm, instantly charring several tufts of dry grass on the ground. This was Lei Kuang, bearer of the B-rank talent lightning manipulation. He read the name Lin Yu in the announcement and sneered. His fingers clenched, dissipating the crackling arcs. Lei Kuang, first to upgrade a shelter? He must have just gotten lucky and stumbled onto pre-gathered supplies. Lei Kuang typed quickly into the regional channel, then twisted his thick neck, joints popping. He possessed the powerful combat-oriented B-rank talent lightning manipulation. That morning he had roamed the wilderness and electrocuted a lone giant rat. Its meat was sour and tough, yet it had restored his stamina. In his mind, those blessed with powerful combat talents like himself were the true protagonists of this world. He had spent the afternoon felling trees too, yet his efficiency had been poor and he had failed to gather enough wood for a shelter upgrade. Still seething, Lei Kuang sent another threatening message to the channel. Lei Kuang at Lin Yu, don't ever let me run into you. Otherwise you'll get a taste of my lightning power. Lin Yu paid no mind to Lei Kuang's threats. He rubbed his hands together, eyes fixed expectantly on his newly acquired iron chest. Resting on the hut's earthen floor, the jet black chest glinted with cold metallic luster. No ornate decorations marked its surface, giving it a rough, primitive look fitting for this wild world. Lin Yu focused his gaze, and translucent text floated above the chest. Iron chest description, a low-rank chest spawning in the wilderness. Most rewards are basic survival supplies. There is a small chance of obtaining Tier 1 gear or blueprints. Lin Yu rubbed his palms together and set his hand on the latch. Click. The lock snapped open and the lid swung upward. Faint white light flickered, followed by the system notification. Ding. Iron chest opened successfully. Obtained. Kang Shuifu mineral water 550 milliliters times 2 obtained. Sharp iron axe. The chest dissolved into stardust. 2 familiar plastic water bottles and a gleaming axe lay on the ground. Lin Yu's eyes lit up as he picked up the axe. It felt heavy in his grasp. Its solid wooden handle was smoothed and textured for a secure grip. The steel blade was pale gray, sharp and well-honed. Sharp iron axe rank. High, grade tier, 1 durability, 50-50 attack power, 15 description. A finely forged steel implement. It performs admirably whether felling trees or fending off hostiles. What a fantastic piece of gear, Lin Yu exclaimed. Compared to his old stone axe, whose durability stood at a mere 10 and would break after chopping a few trees, the sharp iron axe was a massive upgrade. Boasting 50 durability points and 15 attack power, it would drastically boost his logging speed. If he crossed paths with the wolf he had encountered before, even if he could not win, he would at least stand a fighting chance. Setting the axe aside, Lin Yu turned to the 2 bottles of water. His status panel still showed the debuff mild dehydration. His throat burned, and his lips were cracked and flaking. He unscrewed a cap and drank half the bottle in long gulps. Cool, Sweet water flowed down his throat into his stomach, quenching his parched body. The mild dehydration status vanished instantly. Lin Yu exhaled deeply, feeling re-energized. With his hunger resistance talent, his water needs met, and a high-grade tier 1 iron axe, Lin Yu held a massive early game advantage over most other survivors. Night fell completely. Though simple, the upgraded thatch hut blocked the cold and the howls of wild beasts outside. Leaning against the thick wall, Lin Yu reopened the regional chat channel. The chat remained busy, yet the overall tone had shifted. Zhang Shuai. I have the SSS-Rank talent strength boost, which makes me very efficient at felling trees. Can anyone trade me some food or water for my labor? Li Jie. Everyone is starving and thirsty out here. Hardly anyone has spare rations to give away. Lei Kuang. Listen up, everyone in Zone 9527. I am Lei Kuang, wielder of the B-Rank talent lightning manipulation. I urgently need wood and thatch to upgrade my shelter. Anyone holding these materials should hand them over voluntarily. Pay your tribute, and I will offer you my protection. Refuse, and once the 3-day new player protection period ends, I will hunt you down and electrocute you. The channel went quiet for several seconds before erupting into furious replies. Qian Duo. Lei Kuang, you are going too far. We are all survivors. Why should we hand over what we worked so hard to gather? Lei Kuang, because I hold greater power. If you disagree, post your coordinates and see what happens when I find you after the protection period. Qian Duo. Lin Luo, Brother Lei, I'll give you 3 units of wood. Please protect me. Lu Meng, I'll hand mine over too. Boss Lei, I'm on your side from now on. Li Ergu. Boss Lei, take all the wood I collected today. I beg for your protection. Reading the messages of survivors forced into submission for the sake of survival, Lin Yu sighed. Relying on his powerful combat-focused B-Rank talent, Lei Kuang was already bullying others into giving up resources. Strength-based and combat talents granted huge early game advantages, yet Lin Yu disapproved of such predatory behavior. Through threats and inducements, Lei Kuang might very well gather enough upgrade materials. Still, such tactics amounted to drinking poison to quench one's thirst. Moments later, a regional announcement proved Lin Yu's guess correct. Regional announcement. Congratulations to survivor Lei Kuang from Zone 9527 for upgrading a shelter to low-grade Tier 1 thatch hut. Lei Kuang became the second survivor in the zone to complete the upgrade. Lin Yu closed the chat interface and paid him no further attention. For all his bluster, Lei Kuang only possessed a B-Rank talent. As long as Lin Yu kept a low profile and unlocked one new talent each day, his power would snowball. Before long, he would surpass even abilities far stronger than lightning manipulation. Time ticked by. Lin Yu watched the countdown in the corner of his vision. 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 50 seconds 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds midnight. Midnight arrived. The cold system notification echoed in his mind. Ding. Infinite derivative talent activated. Randomizing today's talent ding. You have obtained E-Rank talent. Strength enhancement. Ding. You have obtained E-Rank talent. Strength enhancement. E-Rank talent. Strength enhancement effect. Passively raises strength attribute by 5 points. Your muscle fiber density is restructured, greatly boosting explosive power and carrying capacity. Warm, burning energy surged through his body and coursed through every limb. Lin Yu felt his arm and leg muscles swell subtly, brimming with explosive physical power. He opened his character panel. Name, Lin Yu. Age, 21. Gender, male. Realm, none. Talents, X. Rank infinite derivation, C. Rank spirit affinity, F. Rank hunger resistance, E. Rank strength enhancement. Base attributes, Constitution 7, Strength 12, Agility 8, Spirit 11. Status, mild fatigue. His strength stat had jumped directly from 7 to 12. An average adult male topped out at 10 points. Lin Yu now surpassed the peak physical strength of elite real-world athletes. Combined with his high-grade Tier 1 sharp iron axe dealing 15 attack power, his destructive potential was formidable. Compared to Zhang Shuai's C-Rank talent strength boost, which granted a percentage-based power increase, Lin Yu's new E-Rank strength enhancement offered flat attribute bonuses. Percentage-based buffs would pull ahead later, yet for the present moment, raw stat points suited Lin Yu perfectly. He reveled in his surging physical power, a spark of excitement in his eyes. He slept soundly through the night. The next dawn broke. As faint light spilled over the horizon, Lin Yu opened the regional chat channel. Many survivors exchanged comforting words, yet empty consolation would not keep them alive. Lin Yu checked the zone survival counter. Zone 95, 27 survivors. 9921/10,000. 79 people had perished on the very first day, even within the new player protection period. Grim despair gnawed at him, but he pushed those feelings aside. He sipped a little water, gripped his iron axe, and stepped out of his shelter. A bitter wind swept across the brown, gray wilderness. Lin Yu stood before a dead tree as thick as a human thigh, both hands wrapped around his sharp iron axe. 12 points of strength surged through his muscles. Twisting at the waist, he swung the axe down hard. Crack! The sharp steel bit deep into the charred trunk, sending wood chips flying, carving a deep gash into the timber. Without pausing, he wrenched the axe free and struck sideways. Thud! After several heavy blows, the dead tree groaned and crashed to the ground. Ding! Logging successful. Obtained. Wood times 4. Lin Yu checked the time. The whole process had taken less than 5 minutes. Cutting a similar tree with his old stone axe had consumed nearly an hour. Superior equipment and attributes brought about a genuine qualitative leap in efficiency. He moved to the next dead tree and swung again. Thud! Thud! The steady sound of chopping echoed across the wasteland. Lin Yu worked mechanically yet efficiently, seemingly inexhaustible. Strength enhancement boosted not only his raw power, but also his stamina. 2 hours passed. Every dead tree within 100 meters of his shelter had been felled. Lin Yu paused and opened his backpack. Wood times 156, thatch times 205. He had also collected a large stockpile of thatch. He glanced at his axe. Durability. 4850 after felling more than 30 trees. Only 2 durability points had been consumed. High grade tier 1 tools were extraordinarily durable. Lin Yu panted and drank a few more mouthfuls of mineral water. His original bottles were empty, so he discarded them to free backpack space. I have more than enough wood and thatch. Now I just need stone. The next shelter upgrade required wood times 50, thatch times 50, stone times 30. He glanced toward the rocky stretch 2 kilometers away. He had spotted a wolf there the previous day. Should he go? Lin Yu weighed his options quickly. Gain an early advantage, and every subsequent step becomes easier. Hunger resistance sustained him. Strength enhancement and his iron axe granted him combat capability. He was fully ready to venture further out. To keep unlocking talents safely inside his shelter itself needed to be strong. His current thatch hut possessed only 8 defense points, insufficient to fend off true ferocious beasts. I'm going. Gripping his sharp iron axe, Lin Yu strode toward the rocky ground. Grit swirled in the wilderness wind, blurring visibility. 20 minutes later, he reached the edge of the boulder-strewn terrain. The ground was littered with gray, brown rocks of all sizes over uneven terrain. He trod softly, scanning every rock pile for threats. No wolf was in sight. Lin Yu let out a quiet breath and approached a boulder half as tall as a person. He lacked a pickaxe. Using his axe to break stones would waste its durability. He would have to lift loose stones by hand. His 12-point strength shone once more. Fingertips dug into the edge of a watermelon-sized rock. He strained. A stone weighing roughly 50 kilograms tore free from the soil. Ding. Gathering successful. Obtained. Stone times 1. Progress was slow. Lin Yu hunted for heavily weathered, easily dislodged stones, breaking or lifting them with brute force. Time slipped by. Sweat soaked his thin clothes, and cold wind chilled his skin. Stone times 32 when his backpack counter hit 32 stones. Lin Yu straightened, planning to gather a few more before retreating. Rustle. A faint scraping noise came from behind a nearby pile of rubble. Every hair on Lin Yu's body stood on end. Guided by sharp instinct rather than sight, he rolled forward. Whoosh. A fetid gust of air swept past his back, missing him by inches. Dropping to one knee, he spun around and tightened both hands around his iron axe. 10 paces away stood a huge gray-brown wolf, comparable in size to a young calf. It bared its fangs, poisonous green eyes fixed unblinkingly on him. Thick saliva dripped from its sharp teeth onto the stones below. They were far too close. The wolf tensed its hind legs and lunged forward in a gray blur, aiming straight for Lin Yu's face, moving terrifyingly fast. Running was not an option. With only 8 points in agility, turning his back to the beast would mean certain death. Lin Yu's eyes flashed with ferocity. Instead of retreating, he charged forward, unleashing his full strength. He hefted his iron axe and swung it upward in a slashing arc toward the charging wild wolf. Mid-air, the wolf had no footing to steady itself. Sensing the mortal threat from the pale gray axe blade, it twisted its body instinctively to dodge the vital strike. Squelch! The dull sound of sharp metal slicing through flesh rang out. The iron axe struck home hard against the wolf's right foreleg. The finely forged steel blade cut cleanly through tough muscle and bone. Aruau! The wolf let out a shrill, agonizing howl. Its massive body crashed heavily against the rocks beside Lin Yu and tumbled down into a pile of rubble. Its right foreleg had been severed clean at the root. Blood gushed wildly, staining the gray-brown ground bright red. Lin Yu hastily stepped back 2 paces to put some distance between them. The wolf struggled to its feet, but robbed of one leg. Its balance collapsed, and it fell once more. Fury in its eyes gave way to pain and wariness. It rumbled low in its throat, yet dared not lunge forward again. Lin Yu glanced at the wolf, his mind racing. Kill it. It was certainly possible. But cornered beasts fought with everything they had. He would almost certainly get hurt. In this lawless survival world with no antibiotics or medicine, injury and infection amounted to a slow death. Not worth the risk. Without hesitation, Lin Yu turned and fled, the blood-stained iron axe in his hand. His goal was clear: get back to his shelter. The wolf watched Lin Yu's retreating figure, a savage glint in its eyes. It struggled upright on its 3 remaining legs and limped after him. Out on the wasteland, Lin Yu ran ahead while the wolf hunted close behind. A gap of dozens of meters always separated man and beast. Deprived of one leg, the wolf's speed was greatly reduced, and it could never catch up to Lin Yu. Yet the stubborn persistence of a wild predator kept it from abandoning its wounded prey. Lin Yu covered 2 kilometers in a full 15 minutes. When the familiar thatched hut came into view, the taut tension in his nerves eased slightly. He sprinted to the door, wrenched open the thick wooden portal, darted inside, slammed it shut behind him, and slid the heavy wooden bolt home. Bang! Seconds later, a heavy crash thudded against the door. The wooden frame shuddered violently, sending clouds of dust drifting down. Leaning his back against the door, Lin Yu gasped for breath. His heart hammered in his chest, and his hands gripping the iron axe trembled faintly. This was the first time since he had crossed over that he had stared true death in the face. The pounding against the door ceased. In its place came heavy panting and the scrape of claws raking across wood. The wolf had not left. It had blocked the entrance. Thanks to the new player protection period, no matter how powerful the wolf was, it could not force its way inside the shelter. Lin Yu glanced at his backpack interface. Would *156 thatch *205 stone *32. He met all the requirements for an upgrade. System, upgrade the shelter. Lin Yu commanded in his mind. *ding. Sufficient materials detected. Consume would *50, thatch *50, stone 30 to upgrade the shelter? Yes. The listed resources vanished from his backpack in an instant. A brighter white light than the day before wrapped the entire thatched hut. Startled by the glow, the wolf outside growled and backed several steps away. The radiance lasted 30 full seconds. When it faded, the space Lin Yu stood in had been utterly transformed. Walls once plastered from mud and broken straw were now fitted from thick, solid logs. The thatch roof had given way to heavy planks layered with waterproof dried grass. The gray-brown dirt floor had turned into smooth flagstone. Most satisfying of all was the door. The original thin board had become a 2-inch thick log gate, reinforced with a heavy inner wooden bolt. The interior had expanded as well, now a full 30 square meters. Small log cabin. Rank. Upper tier grade. 1 durability. 30/30 defense. 25 description. A sturdy wooden shelter with vastly improved defenses. It can withstand sustained attacks from grade 1 beasts. Interior expanded to 30 square meters, with greatly enhanced warmth and moisture resistance. Next upgrade requirement. Wood 106 100ths, vine 0/50ths, stone 2/200. Lin Yu walked over and tapped the solid door with his palm. Outside, the wolf still panted heavily and raked its claws against the wood. The cabin door did not so much as rattle. Not a single wood chip fell away. Scratch all you want. You'll never get in, Lin Yu muttered through the wood. Within the new player protection period, the shelter itself was invulnerable. Even once the protection lapsed, with 25 defense points, this small log cabin could easily hold off a crippled wolf. A profound sense of safety washed over him. Lin Yu sat cross-legged in the corner of the cabin and opened the regional chat channel. 3 glowing golden system announcements floated pinned at the very top. Regional announcement. Congratulations to Survivor Lin Yu of Sector 9527. First to upgrade shelter to upper tier grade. 1 small log cabin. Regional announcement. Congratulations to Survivor Lin Yu of Sector 9527. First to upgrade shelter to upper tier grade. 1 small log cabin. Regional announcement. Congratulations to survivor Lin Yu of Sector 9527. First to upgrade shelter to upper tier grade. 1 small log cabin. The notice repeated 3 times in succession. Lin Yu waited a few seconds, but no separate system reward prompt appeared. No reward for being the first to upgrade? That's a ripoff. Lin Yu could not help complaining. He had been thrust into the spotlight with nothing to show for it. He had never craved attention. By now the regional chat was in an uproar. Li Jia, holy hell. Am I seeing things? Upper tier grade 1. Zhang Shuai. I've got a C tier strength boost. I've been chopping trees until my hands are raw, and I barely scraped together materials for a mid-tier grade 1 thatched hut. How did he jump straight to a log cabin? Is he cheating? Xian Duo. Yesterday mid-tier grade 1, today upper tier grade 1. Lin Yu must have high-grade tools or a gathering focus talent. Lin Wenwen. Brother Lin Yu, where are you? I'm freezing. Can I take shelter in your log cabin? I'll stay out of your way, I promise. Zhang Wuji. Can people hack in this game? I'm filing a report. The chat flooded with shock and disbelief. Most survivors were scrambling just to find food and drinking water. Quite a few had barely scraped materials together over 2 days to upgrade to mid-tier grade 1 thatched hut. Lin Yu's progress was far beyond what anyone else could comprehend. Then a hostile message popped up on screen. Lei Kuang at Lin Yu, you're definitely hiding something. I don't care how you gathered those supplies. Hand over 100 wood and 50 stone right now. Once new player protection expires, I'll hunt you down first. Inside his own thatched hut, Lei Kuang stared at the announcement, his face dark with rage. By threatening weaker survivors, he had bullied together a stockpile of wood and stone. He had thought his progress was impressive, yet Lin Yu had outpaced him completely. Lei Kuang could not stand it. Lei Kuang. Everyone in Sector 9527 listen up. From today onward, hand over 1/3 of all your resources as tribute. Hide anything, and I will track you down and deal with you. The channel fell quiet for a moment. Lei Kuang's intimidation had frightened many people the day before, yet today the mood had shifted. Qian Duo at Lei Kuang, save your breath. The wasteland is huge. How are you supposed to track everyone down? Li Jia, exactly. I can barely feed myself. Why would I pay tribute? Come take my life if you want it. Lu Meng. Boss Lei, I couldn't cut any trees today. Wild dogs are roaming outside. I dare not step out. Li Ergu. Boss Lei, you can have all my resources. Prioritize your shelter upgrade. Lei Kuang's threats carried far less weight than before. Still, Li Ergu remained his obsequious lackey. When people are starved and terrified, they act out of self-preservation. If surrendering supplies meant death and hoarding supplies also meant death, no one would willingly give away their life-saving resources. Survivors were learning a hard lesson. Laying low and steadily growing stronger was the only path to survival. Lin Yu read Lei Kuang's impotent outburst and closed the interface. A B-tier talent, and he thinks he runs the world. If they fought right now, Lin Yu would lose. But given time to grow, the outcome would be very different. Lin Yu's gaze drifted to the countdown in the corner of his vision. 23 hours, 55 minutes, and 10 seconds. Less than 5 minutes remained until midnight. Outside the door, the wolf still lingered, letting out an occasional low, weak-sounding howl. Crippled and deprived of food, it would not hold out much longer. Lin Yu leaned against the log wall and closed his eyes to rest. For minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 50 seconds, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. Midnight, the clock rolled over to midnight. Cold system narration echoed inside Lin Yu's mind. Ding. Infinite derivative talent activated. Randomizing today's talent. Lin Yu opened his eyes, anticipation flickering across his face. Give me something practical. Ding. Congratulations, you have obtained. Ding. Congratulations. You have acquired C-tier talent. Double blessing. Lin Yu's spirits lifted at once. He pulled up his character sheet to read the details. C-tier talent. Double blessing. Effect. Blessing of hard work. Doubled returns. All basic resources obtained through gathering, logging, mining, and other manual labor are forcibly doubled. What a great talent. Truly worthy of C-tier. Lin Yu nearly jumped for joy. Though not a combat talent, in these early resource-starved days, its value exceeded many ordinary B-tier combat talents. Where others gained 3 wood felling 1 tree, he would gain 6. Combined with strength enhancement and his sharp iron axe, 1 day of work would earn him as much as 2 or even 3 days' worth for ordinary survivors. Work as hard as I possibly can. Lin Yu leaned against the wall and closed his eyes to rest. Thanks to his hunger resistance talent, he had no urgent need for food. Hours passed, and dawn broke. Lin Yu habitually opened the regional chat channel. Yuan Chongyang, haha, I found a wooden treasure chest in the bushes. Got a loaf of bread. No more starving. Lin Luo for real. Treasure chests actually spawn out in the wild. Qian Duo Duo. I found an iron rank chest. Got 2 bottles of water and an iron pickaxe. Everyone, fortune favors the bold. You won't get far just punching trees barehanded. Lei Kuang, back off, all of you. Those chests belong to me. Touch them and you'll regret it. Li Jia, you're delusional, Lei Kuang. Sector 9527 is enormous. You cannot claim everything. Chat exploded over the appearance of treasure chests. Driven by the urge to survive, many survivors were daring to venture outside their shelters. Lin Yu read the scrolling messages and glanced at his sharp iron axe. His axe had come from the iron rank chest granted for being the first to upgrade. Wild-spawning treasure chests were a major way to pull ahead of others. I need to go hunt for treasure chests too. Lin Yu stood and walked to the door. Outside, all was quiet. No more scratching sounds. Peering through the narrow gaps between the cabin logs, he spotted the gray-brown wolf lying 3 meters from the entrance. Its broken foreleg no longer bled, yet the mangled wound looked pale and festering. Its belly had caved in. Its breath came short and ragged, worn thin by blood loss and hunger. Lin Yu focused his gaze, and a faint blue status panel floated into view. Wild Wolf, Beast Rank. Early Stage Grade, 1 Description. A wasteland predator that actively hunts resource-gathering survivors. This specimen is grievously wounded, yet its killer instincts remain intact. Not dead yet. Lin Yu tightened his grip on the axe handle, his expression turning cold. He could not safely venture out to gather supplies with this beast camped on his doorstep. Should he charge straight out and fight? Lin Yu shook his head. A cornered beast fights with desperate ferocity. Even with 12 points of strength, his constitution and agility remained low. One bite could mean fatal infection in this world without antibiotics. I'll wait it out. Lin Yu held his patience, watching the outside world from behind the door. Time trickled by. The sun climbed higher, bringing mild warmth to the wasteland. The wolf's head sank slowly onto its front paws. Its eyes drifted half shut as it slipped into a drowsy stupor. Now was his chance. Lin Yu drew a deep breath. His left hand closed around the wooden bolt. His right hand gripped the iron axe. Click. The bolt slid free. Lin Yu shoved the heavy door open. It creaked loudly. The wolf jolted awake. Its eerie green eyes flew open. It snarled and tried to scramble to its feet. Too weak to bear weight on its mangled limb, it stumbled halfway upright and collapsed again. Lin Yu gave it no chance to recover. Unleashing his full strength, he stepped outside. Both hands swung the sharp iron axe, whistling through the air, straight toward the wolf's skull. Squelch! The fine steel blade bit clean through the wolf's thick cranium and sank deep into bone. The wolf let out a muffled whimper. Its huge body convulsed violently before crashing heavily to the ground. Lin Yu planted one boot on its head and wrenched the axe free. Blood splattered outward. To make certain it was truly dead, he brought the axe down once more, severing the wolf's neck vertebrae completely. The beast lay motionless. Ding! You have slain early stage grade, 1 beast, Wild Wolf. The system prompt echoed in his mind. Lin Yu exhaled heavily, his tense muscles relaxing. He possessed no combat talent. Victory came from patience and his fine weapon. Disassemble. Lin Yu spoke mentally, staring down at the corpse. Drawing on his experience from online games, he knew monster bodies ought to yield usable materials. Ding. Wild Wolf corpse detected. Proceed with tool-assisted disassembly? Yes. Guided by system prompts, Lin Yu moved his iron axe over the corpse. Faint white light washed over the scene, and the wolf's body vanished. Ding. Disassembly complete. Obtained. Wolf hide *1. Obtained. Wolf fangs *4. Obtained. Fresh wolf meat *5. Lin Yu opened his backpack to inspect the loot. Wolf hide rank. Low tier grade. 1 description. Tough material with excellent insulating properties. Can be crafted into armor or cold weather garments. Wolf fangs rank. Low tier grade. 1 description. Hard and sharp. Suitable for crafting bone arrows or daggers. Fresh wolf meat rank. Low tier grade. 1 description. Greatly eases hunger upon consumption and restores minor vitality. Note: eating raw meat carries a high risk of parasite infection. Cooking is strongly recommended. Lin Yu smiled at his rewards. These were extremely valuable resources. Most notably the 5 portions of fresh wolf meat, a priceless commodity in a region where even dry bread sparked fierce competition. I've got meat, but no way to make fire. He had plenty of wood and thatch, yet no proper fire-starting tools. Trying to start fire by friction would drain far too much stamina and time. Set that aside for now. Daylight is burning. Time to hunt for treasure chests and gather basic resources. Axe in hand, Lin Yu gazed out across the distant wasteland. Thanks to double blessing, today he would fell trees, mine stone, and search for treasure chests. He set off along the same path he had taken the day before toward the rocky shoals. Though the sun shone bright, bitter wind still swept across the wasteland. He had walked less than 2 kilometers when his footsteps halted. Behind a low sand dune ahead glinted an unusual sheen. Gripping his iron axe tightly, Lin Yu lightened his pace and crept closer. When he drew near, he spotted a wooden treasure chest half buried beneath the sand. Though the lowest rank chest type, it shimmered faintly. Chest ranks from lowest to highest: wooden, iron, bronze, silver, gold, dark gold. Click. Lin Yu used the back of his axe to pry open the chest's sand-clogged latch. Ding. Wooden treasure chest opened successfully. Obtained. Wood *10. Another crisp system tone followed at once. *ding. C-tier talent double blessing triggered. Bonus gain. Wood 10. The chest dissolved into stardust, leaving 20 units of wood behind. Lin Yu quickly stored them in his backpack. The efficiency was astonishing. Even the lowest grade chest gave modest loot, yet doubled by his talent. The reward rivaled felling several large trees by hand. No wonder everyone in regional chat is mad for treasure chests, Lin Yu murmured, licking his dry lips. Still, he kept a clear head. Treasure chests spawned randomly with unpredictable drops. Luck might grant him one right outside his door today, yet tomorrow he could search for hours and find nothing. In survival games, those who trusted only in luck died fast. Steady manual labor remained his most reliable fallback. Lin Yu turned toward a nearby thicket of dead trees. He planted his feet and raised his axe. Strength surged. The blade whistled through the air and crashed into the trunk. Bang! With several axe blows, the dead tree crashed to the ground with a clean-cut fracture. Ding! Logging successful. Obtained. Wood *4. Ding! Crank talent double blessing has triggered. Bonus gain. Wood *4. Seeing 8 units of wood instantly added to his inventory, Lin Yu could not suppress a grin. 8 units of wood from a single dead tree. This was hardly survival. It was plain stockpiling supplies. Without hesitation, Lin Yu turned into a relentless logging machine. Heavy chopping sounds echoed one after another across the wasteland. Other survivors had to watch their stamina, fight hunger, and rest for ages after felling one tree. Lin Yu had his hunger resistance talent to fall back on, boosted strength enhancement, a sharp iron axe, plus double blessing. His work efficiency was maxed out. In just 2.5 hours, this small grove of dead trees had been completely cleared. Lin Yu stopped and opened his inventory panel. Wood *520. The next upgrade for his log cabin only required 100 units of wood. He already had far more than enough. Wood is sufficient for now. What I lack most are stones, plus vines. I have no clue where to find vines. Lin Yu glanced at his iron axe's durability, which sat at 43 points left. He tucked the axe at his waist and strode toward the rocky shoal 2 kilometers away. The rocky shoal remained rugged, dotted with rocks of all sizes in gray-brown hues. Lin Yu walked up to a heavily weathered boulder, gripped its edge with both hands, and pulled hard. Heave! A boulder weighing over 100 Gene was torn loose from the ground. Ding! Gathering successful. Obtained. Stone *1. Ding! Crank talent double blessing has triggered. Bonus gain. Stone *1. 2 units of stone in one go. Lin Yu shook his hands and frowned. Though his talent doubled his haul, gathering stones by hand was miserable work. Rough rock surfaces rubbed his palms raw, dirt packed under his fingernails, and it drained far more stamina than cutting trees. The efficiency is low. A pickaxe would make all the difference. Lin Yu recalled Qian Duo from the regional chat channel that morning. That survivor had looted an iron pickaxe. As the old saying went, a workman must first sharpen his tools if he is to do his work well. After nearly an hour of hauling rocks by hand and collecting 40 units of stone total, Lin Yu called it quits. His fingertips were broken open, pushing further wrist infection. In this lawless, primitive world without medicine, an infected wound was a slow death sentence. While resting, Lin Yu browsed messages in the regional channel. New posts popped up every few seconds, most from people begging for handouts or spouting meaningless remarks. Lin Yu saw clearly, wasting precious resource-gathering time like this would seal their fates. After a moment's thought, he sent a message to the regional channel. Lin Yu at Qian Duo, you there? Li Jiao, Big Shot Lin Yu is speaking. Everyone come take a look. Li Ergu. Lin Yu, how dare you show your face? At Lei Kuang. Boss Lei, get over here. Lei Kuang at Lin Yu, hand over your supplies right now. Lin Yu had no interest in bickering. Arguing with fools was beneath him. Qian Duo Duo. I'm here. Lin Yu at Qian Duo Duo. Want to add each other as friends? Before Lin Yu could send the request, Qian Duo Duo sent one first. Ding. Survivor, Qian Duo Duo wants to add you as a friend. Accept? Accept, Lin Yu thought to himself. His once empty friend list now showed a blinking avatar. Qian Duo Duo. Big shot Lin Yu. I've heard so much about you. 2 system-wide announcements have made you the famous figure of Zone 9527. What can I do for you? Qian Duo Duo kept his tone deferential, speaking with the smooth tact of a merchant. Lin Yu skipped small talk and got straight to the point. Lin Yu, are you selling that pickaxe? Qian Duo Duo. You cut straight to the chase, big shot. I risked my neck opening an iron-grade chest to get this. There's probably no second one in the whole zone. Lin Yu, name your price. Somewhere else inside a drafty thatched hut, Qian Duo Duo rubbed his hands and stared at the private chat screen. He was sharp. Anyone who upgraded their shelter twice must hold valuable resources. Qian Duo Duo, you know exactly what this pickaxe is worth. I want either a felling-capable tool or enough food and water to last 3 days. Lin Yu read the message with a calm expression. Trade away his sharp iron axe? Absolutely not. As a first-tier high-grade item, it could cut wood and served as his primary means of self-defense. A pickaxe was merely a basic tool. Their values were nowhere near equal. But he did have food and water. Lin Yu opened his inventory and sent a screenshot of fresh wolf meat. Lin Yu. Fresh wolf meat.jpg Lin Yu. Wolf meat. Great for easing hunger and restoring physical condition. The chat stayed silent for 10 full seconds. Qian Duo Duo. Holy cow. Big shot. You actually hunted wild beasts. Real meat. Shock poured out of Qian Duo Duo's words. Most survivors struggled for food and relied almost entirely on chest loots. Obtaining meat out in the wilderness was incredibly hard. Yet Lin Yu had fresh meat from killing a wild animal. That meant he possessed not only plenty of supplies, but formidable combat power. Qian Duo Duo. How much meat for the pickaxe? Lin Yu thought briefly and typed his reply. Lin Yu. 2 units of fresh wolf meat plus 30 units of wood for your pickaxe. Qian Duo Duo hesitated. The pickaxe was vital for resource gathering later on. Still, he faced a food shortage, and upgrading his drafty thatched hut demanded wood. Qian Duo Duo deal. He wasted no time haggling and sent a trade request. Forming good relations with Lin Yu was well worth it. Ding. Trade completed. Lost. Fresh wolf meat ×2, wood ×30. Obtained. Pickaxe. Lin Yu's trade interface confirmed the finished deal. A 1-meter-long pickaxe materialized in his hands. It felt heavy. Its handle was rough-textured hardwood. The dark gray metal head had 1 sharp point and 1 flat edge, marked by faint rust. Pickaxe. Grade. First-tier, mid-grade durability. 18/20 description. A barely serviceable stone mining tool. Fine for quarrying rocks. Not recommended for combat. Compared to his first-tier high-grade sharp iron axe, this pickaxe had unimpressive stats. It'll get the job done. Lin Yu hefted it. The weight felt just right. With this, stone gathering efficiency would soar. Another message popped up from Qian Duo Duo in private chat. Qian Duo Duo. To be honest, I awakened an A-rank talent equivalent exchange. Every trade I make has a chance to grant me a random item of equal value. Qian Duo Duo. I used to run a business with hundreds under me. I know how to maximize gains. This savage survival world is far too dangerous to go solo. You've got strength and resources. If we team up, we could go far. I handle intel and trading. You provide muscle. What do you say? Lin Yu read the text and pondered. A-rank support talent equivalent exchange. No wonder Qian Duo Duo dared trade away his pickaxe. He might score extra loot just by trading. Among so many survivors, quite a few must have rare talents. People like Lei Kuang, who only shouted threats on public chat, were brainless pawns. Truly clever players kept their heads down and accumulated advantages quietly. Lin Yu. I'm open to cooperation, but not a formal alliance yet. Qian Duo Duo. Got it, big shot. I'll pass along any useful information right away. Lin Yu closed the chat panel. An alliance? Trusting a person he had known less than 2 days with his safety would be suicidal. Still, keeping this contact would prove useful later. He stood, tucked his sharp iron axe at his waist, took his new pickaxe, and headed back toward the rocky shoal. Gray-brown boulders lay scattered across the terrain. Lin Yu found a heavily weathered rock pile, gripped the pick handle firmly, twisted at his waist, and swung hard. Clang! The sharp pick point bit deep into rock crevices, and large chunks of stone split off. Ding! Gathering successful. Obtained. Stone ×2. Ding! Crank talent, double blessing, has triggered. Bonus gain. Stone ×2. For units of stone with 1 strike. Quarrying speed was easily 10 times faster than gathering by hand. He swung his pick repeatedly, turning into a relentless stone harvester. Sharp clanging sounds rang non-stop across the wasteland. More than an hour later, Lin Yu stopped and shook his aching wrists. His inventory held 240 units of stone. He already had the 200 stones required for the next shelter upgrade. Lin Yu glanced toward the sky. Beneath its gray haze, the sun hung low. Roughly 2 hours remained until nightfall. Wood was abundant, stones were ready. All he still needed was 50 units of vine. Instead of returning to his shelter, he slung his iron axe and walked deeper past the rocky shoal. He crossed rolling low hills, and the landscape shifted. Dry gray-brown soil gave way to damp yellow earth dotted with sparse green plants. A thicket of low shrubs came into view. Lin Yu quickened his pace. Upon drawing near, he saw thumb-thick green vines twisting among the bushes. Found them. This spot held living plants and plenty of vines. Lin Yu stepped forward and raised his axe to chop some vines, then froze. Deep within the densest shrubs, through tangled vines, glinted dark metallic black. An iron-grade chest. Lin Yu's heart raced. The last iron-grade chest had given him his iron axe and put him far ahead early on. Luck smiled on him once more. Gripping his iron axe tightly, he carefully pushed shrub branches aside. A faint hissing sound reached his ears. Lin Yu stiffened. He followed the sound, and his eyes widened. Coiled on a thick vine beside the chest was a bright green serpent patterned in black. Its triangular head reared high. Cold vertical pupils locked onto Lin Yu, its scarlet tongue flicking constantly. Green scales scraped against vines, producing an unnerving rustle. Lin Yu focused his gaze, and a translucent status window appeared. Green Mamba Wild Beast, Grade. First tier, mid-tier description. A highly venomous wild beast that lurks within vine thickets. Its neurotoxin can paralyze an adult human's nervous system within 3 minutes and trigger cardiac arrest. Extremely dangerous. Retreat advised. First tier, mid-tier, and deadly poisonous. Lin Yu's scalp prickled. One bite, and with no anti-venom in this savage world, death was all but guaranteed. The chest was inches away, yet his life came first. Lin Yu retreated slowly, moving with utmost care not to rouse the snake. Once he had backed out more than 10 meters and escaped its striking range, he turned and hurried back along his previous path. The chest and vines aren't going anywhere. I'll come back to deal with this creature once I unlock more talents. Lin Yu planned inwardly. He arrived back at his log cabin just as daylight vanished completely. Strong winds swept across the wasteland, sand grains beating against wooden walls. Lin Yu shut the heavy door tight and slid home the thick wooden bolt. Sitting down on flat stone flooring, he opened his inventory and tallied his day's gains. Wood times 520, thatch times 205, stone times 240, wolf hide times 1, wolf fangs times 4, fresh wolf meat times 3, Kangshifa mineral water 550 milliliters times 1, pickaxe durability 12/20ths, sharp iron axe durability 41/50ths. His stockpile was enormous, far outpacing most survivors. The next shelter upgrade required. Wood times 100, vine times 50, stone times 200. Only 50 vines still stood missing. Darkness fully enveloped the wasteland. Gusts carrying sand hammered against the log cabin walls with dull thuds. Inside, Lin Yu paid no mind to the storm. Seated on his stone floor, he opened the regional chat channel. Nights in this survival world were long and perilous. With no other forms of recreation, most survivors lingered in chat. Messages scrolled at high speed, far busier than during daytime hours. Ligia, today was terrible. I trekked 3 kilometers and didn't spot a single wooden chest. Almost got mauled by a wild dog. Zhang Shuai, I got lucky. Opened a wooden chest and found 3 loaves of bread. Still short on wood, though? Anyone have extra wood to spare? Lin Wenwen, I ran into another survivor out in the wild today. He tried to steal thatch I collected. I barely escaped. Everyone watch out for other humans. Yuan Chongyang, me too. So we're not scattered that far apart. If only we could form teams. Qian Duo, be careful teaming up. Betrayals happen all the time. Su Yueshi, tomorrow marks the final day of the newbie protection period. I have to upgrade to a thatched hut. Buying wood, we'll trade stones. Lin Yu skimmed through posts and sorted out key takeaways. First, newly spawned wilderness chests drove survivors to explore. Second, survivors in this zone lived relatively close to each other. Encounters and conflicts could break out anytime. Third, newbie protection ended tomorrow. Anxiety ran high, as everyone needed upgraded shelters to face incoming unknown disasters. Lin Yu pulled up the trade interface to study current supply and demand trends. Trade listings had been sparse before, Yet new wilderness chests had filled the marketplace. Food and water remained the most sought-after commodities. Almost nobody posted them for trade. What was next? Upgrading to a first-tier mid-grade thatched hut cost 10 wood units. A first-tier high-grade log cabin needed 50. Logging demanded tools and heavy stamina. Starving, dehydrated survivors rarely gathered enough lumber. Lin Yu glanced at his inventory. With times 520, his daily output rivaled that of dozens of ordinary survivors combined. Time to make some profitable trades, Lin Yu thought. Instead of advertising loudly in regional chat, which would draw unwanted attention, he created 10 trade listings directly on the trade board. Seller, Lin Yu, item offered. With times 10, wanted, special blueprints, rare items, defensive gear, weapons, note. No basic material trades. Private messages welcome for negotiations. Barely 10 seconds after posting, private chat notifications flooded in non-stop. Lu Meng. Big shot Lin Yu. I have a sandal-making blueprint. Can I get 10 wood? I'm so close to upgrading my thatched hut. Lin Luo. I'll trade a stone spear crafting blueprint. Please. Chen Fei. I have a cracked clay pot that holds water. Can I get 5 wood for it? Lin Yu quickly filtered incoming messages. Sandals were useless. He already had an iron axe, so a stone spear held no value. He owned a mineral water bottle, making the cracked pot irrelevant. Most offers amounted to worthless junk. One message caught his eye. Zhou Yin. Big shot Lin Yu. I have flint for making fire. I want 20 wood units. Deal? Fire starting supplies. Lin Yu's thoughts stirred. He still held 3 portions of fresh wolf meat in inventory. Eating raw meat risked parasite infection. The meat needed cooking. Out on the frigid wasteland nights, fire also offered warmth, light, and kept wild beasts away. Lin Yu, send me the flint stats. Zhou Yin quickly sent a screenshot. Zhou Yin, flint.jpg flint, grade, none description, 2 fire-rich stones. Striking them together creates sparks to ignite dry tinder. Durability, 4850. Lin Yu, I'll trade, but only for 15 wood units. Zhou Yin, this is fire-starting gear. Everyone wants hot meals. Make it 18. That is my final offer. Lin Yu, 15. Take it or leave it. Once newbie protection expires tomorrow, try bargaining with wild beasts using your flint. The remark struck home. Zhou Yin stayed silent for several seconds before sending a trade application. Ding. Trade completed. Lost. Wood times 15. Obtained. Flint times 1. 2 fist-sized reddish-brown stones appeared in Lin Yu's hands. Their surfaces rough and faintly warm to touch. Now he had a reliable way to start fires. Lin Yu kept reading new private messages. Su Yueshi. Lin Yu, I have a blueprint. Hoping to trade for 30 wood units. Su Yueshi. Lin Yu recalled her. The girl who had posted about fearing darkness on the very first day. Lin Yu, send it over. Su Yueshi. Wooden bed crafting blueprint.jpg. Wooden bed crafting blueprint. Grade. First tier low-grade description. Unlocks crafting for a wooden bed. Sleeping on it speeds fatigue recovery and grants minor stamina regeneration. Crafting requirements. Wood times 10, thatch times 5. This was another valuable find. Lin Yu currently slept directly on cold stone floors, often waking stiff and sore. Owning a wooden bed would drastically improve his quality of life. Lin Yu, 30 wood is too high. This blueprint grants no combat power or defense. 25 wood. Su Yueshi, but I still need 30 wood to upgrade my log cabin. I searched chests all day just to get this blueprint. Please, could you help me? Her message carried clear pleading. Lin Yu remained impassive. In this survival world, sympathy was cheap and dangerous. Lin Yu, 25. Not 1 unit more. Su Yueshi, very well. Thank you. Ding. Transaction successful. Lost. Wood asterisk 25. Obtained. Wooden bed blueprint asterisk 1. Lin Yu opened the blueprint, on which the structure and assembly method of a wooden bed were drawn. None of that mattered. As long as Lin Yu gathered enough crafting materials, the blueprint would trigger automatic fabrication. Moreover, the blueprint was a one-time consumable item. Su Yueshi had not crafted a wooden bed herself. For one thing, she had no surplus wood. For another, she was a sharp-minded woman who understood that upgrading the shelter held top priority. Comfort from sleeping in a wooden bed was a luxury only the top-tier survivors ought to pursue. System, craft the wooden bed, Lin Yu thought to himself. Ding. Sufficient materials detected. Consume wood asterisk 10 and thatch asterisk 5 to craft a wooden bed? Yes. 10 units of wood and 5 units of thatch were deducted from his backpack. A flash of white light appeared, and a sturdy wooden bed, 2 meters long and only 1.5 meters wide, materialized in the corner of the log cabin. Its bed planks lay flat, covered with a thick layer of dry thatch that gave off a faint scent of plants. Lin Yu walked over and sat down. The planks creaked softly under his weight, solid and stable. What were we grinding for wood and stone all day for, if not to rest comfortably in bed at night? To most other survivors, a wooden bed was a luxury, yet for Lin Yu, it was a necessity. Lin Yu stood up and took flint, handfuls of thatch, and several pieces of wood out of his backpack. In the middle of the log cabin, he stacked stones to build a simple fire pit. He laid crumpled thatch at the bottom and propped pieces of wood on top. Gripping 2 pieces of flint, he struck them hard together. Click! Bright sparks flew and landed precisely on the dry thatch. Thin wisps of smoke curled upward, and flames quickly spread to ignite the wood. At the same time, the durability of the flint dropped from 48 to 47 points. It seemed these pieces of flint could not be used infinitely. Dancing firelight chased away the cabin's darkness and raised the indoor temperature. Lin Yu took 1 unit of fresh wild wolf meat, sliced it into chunks with his iron axe, skewered the pieces on sharpened wooden sticks, and held them over the fire to roast, turning them repeatedly. Before long, fat dripped onto the embers, sizzling loudly. A rich aroma of roasted meat filled the log cabin. There was no salt, no cumin, not a single seasoning. Some parts were cooked unevenly, and one spot was badly charred. Still, when Lin Yu took his first bite, long-awaited satisfaction flooded his stomach. Ugh, it tasted terrible. The meat was extremely tough. Even so, Lin Yu forced himself to eat. Though he possessed the F-tier talent starvation resistance, he still needed food to replenish his body's energy. As he chewed his roasted meat, Lin Yu glanced over the regional chat channel. He watched survivors haggling and begging over scraps of bread and sips of water, his expression completely calm. The law of the jungle played out for all to see here. Once full, Lin Yu added 2 more logs to the fire pit and lay down on his soft wooden bed. Weariness washed over him like a tide. He glanced at the countdown in the upper right corner. 23 hours and 55 minutes. Only 5 minutes remained until the final day of the novice protection period. Tomorrow he would need to gather the last 50 units of vine to upgrade his shelter once more. He would also have to deal with the green mamba coiled beside the iron-grade chest. Seconds ticked by. 5 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. Midnight. Cold mechanical sound boomed inside Lin Yu's mind on schedule. Ding. Infinite derivation talent activated. Randomizing today's talent. Ding. Congratulations. You have obtained D-tier talent. Toxin resistance. Lin Yu immediately pulled up his status panel to check. D-tier talent. Toxin resistance. Effect. Your blood and cells have mutated. You are immune to all basic toxins and gain greatly increased resistance against high-grade poisons. A smile tugged at the corner of Lin Yu's mouth as he read the description. This was exactly what he needed. The greatest threat posed by the green mamba guarding the iron-grade chest yesterday had been its venom, capable of killing a human within 3 minutes. With this talent, the snake's deadliest advantage was rendered useless. Lin Yu added 2 more pieces of wood to the fire pit, draped his first-rank low-grade wild wolf pelt over himself, and fell into deep sleep. Early the next morning, embers in the fire pit still radiated faint warmth. Lin Yu opened his eyes and sat up on the thatch-covered, sturdy wooden bed. He had slept wonderfully. The wooden bed erased his accumulated exhaustion, and the wild wolf pelt had kept him perfectly insulated against the night wind. He opened his character status panel. Name, Lin Yu. Realm, none. Talents, X-tier infinite derivation, C-tier spirit affinity, C-tier double blessing, F-tier starvation resistance, A-tier strength enhancement, D-tier toxin resistance. Base stats, Constitution 7, Strength 12, Agility 8, Spirit 11. Status, full of energy. All negative status effects had vanished, replaced by full of energy. Lin Yu swung his legs over the edge of the bed, drank a small amount of water, and picked up his sharp iron axe. Glancing at his half-empty mineral water bottle, he knew he had to keep searching for new water sources. Today marked the final day of the novice protection period. Tomorrow the shelter's absolute safety buff would disappear, and the first random natural disaster would strike. He had to upgrade his shelter to first-rank low-grade today. The 50 units of vine and the iron-grade chest were non-negotiable goals. He pushed open the wooden door. Cold winds swept across the wasteland. Yet Lin Yu stepped forward with unshakable resolve. He crossed the rocky shore and climbed over low, barren hills, until the stretch of low, green-tinged shrubland came into view once again. Lin Yu slowed his pace and crept quietly toward yesterday's location. The iron-grade chest remained half-buried among the bushes. The bright green mamba was coiled on a thick vine right above the chest. Sensing a living creature, it slowly lifted its triangular head, its cold vertical pupils locking onto Linyu. Its scarlet tongue flickered. The scrape of its emerald scales against the vine echoed through the quiet shrubland. Linyu did not step back as he had the day before. He gripped the axe handle tightly, building strength in the muscles of his arms. Man and snake stood less than 5 meters apart. The green mamba struck first. It reared its upper body back and shot forward like an arrow released from a bow. A streak of emerald green arced through the air straight for Linyu's face. It moved far too fast. Even with 8 points in agility, Linyu could not fully dodge the attack. But he had no intention of dodging. Eyes sharp, Linyu tensed his arms and swung his iron axe hard at the incoming green blur. Midair, the mamba twisted its body, evading the full force of the axe blade. It coiled itself around the wooden axe handle instead. Opening its jaws full of fangs, it sank its teeth deep into Linyu's wrist. Sharp fangs pierced his skin, and icy venom surged into his bloodstream. It landed its bite. Having struck, the green mamba prepared to pull back and wait for its prey to succumb to poison. Instead, a hand like an iron clamp shot out. Linyu's left hand seized the snake directly by its 7-inch point. Striking a snake at its 7-inch point was common knowledge. Most people simply dared not try it, terrified of its lethal venom. As the mamba's venom flooded his body, the toxin resistance talent activated instantly. The icy poison dissolved without the slightest effect. Linyu felt nothing more than a stinging pain at his wrist. No numbness, no weakness set in. Is that all you've got? Linyu squeezed hard. Cracking sounds of straining bones came from the snake's body. The green mamba thrashed violently, its long body coiling tighter and tighter around Linyu's arm. Releasing the axe handle with his right hand, Linyu drew his pickaxe from his waist and drove its sharp tip straight into the snake's head without hesitation. Squelch! The pickaxe pierced clean through the mamba's skull, pinning it firmly to a nearby tree trunk. The snake's body convulsed wildly several times before going limp. The green mamba's true strength lay in its venom. Physically, it was weaker even than a first-rank early-stage wild wolf. Once its poison was neutralized, Linyu held no fear of it. Ding! Congratulations! You have slain first-rank mid-stage beast green mamba. Linyu pulled free his pickaxe and shook off the blood, letting out a long breath. Without the D-tier toxin resistance talent, even if he had managed to kill the snake, he would have died from its venom. Decompose. Linyu thought, looking at the mamba's corpse on the ground. Ding. Green mamba corpse detected. Proceed with tool-assisted decomposition? Yes. Linyu lifted his iron axe and followed the system guidance, moving the blade over the snake's body. A faint white light washed over the ground, and the corpse vanished. Ding. Decomposition successful. Obtained. Venomous snake fangs *2. Obtained. Snake gallbladder *1. Obtained. Fresh snake meat *3. Linyu opened his backpack to view the item descriptions. Venomous snake fangs. Rank. First rank mid-grade description. Sharp fangs carrying potent poison. May be used to craft poisoned arrows or improvised weapons. Snake gallbladder. Rank. First rank mid-grade description. Consumed to clear heat and detoxify, granting a minor boost to poison resistance. Fresh snake meat. Rank. First rank mid-grade description. Tender meat. Eating it greatly eases hunger and delivers strong physical recovery effects. Note: eating raw carries high risk of parasite infection. Cook thoroughly before consumption. After reading the stats, Linyu tossed the snake gallbladder straight into his mouth. Bitter taste spread across his tongue, followed by a cool sensation flowing throughout his body. Bleeding at his wrist wound stopped. Ding. You have consumed snake gallbladder. Poison resistance slightly increased. His D-tier toxin resistance already passively raised poison resistance. Combined with the snake gallbladder's effect, ordinary poisons could hardly harm him now. With the mamba dealt with, Linyu turned his attention to the iron-grade chest hidden among the bushes. He would finally claim the treasure he had missed the day before. Stepping forward, he pried open the chest lid with his iron axe. Click white light flashed, and system notifications popped up one after another. Ding. Iron-grade chest opened successfully. Obtained. Primary repeating crossbow blueprint *1. Obtained. Iron or *5. Ding. C-tier talent, double blessing triggered. Bonus loot, iron or *5. The chest dissolved into stardust and faded away. Linyu had worked out how his C-tier double blessing functioned. It only applied to basic resources, whether gathered manually or looted from chests. Blueprints and equipment counted as special items and received no double bonus. Trading also did not trigger the effect. Linyu's eyes lit up at his new loot. A especially the primary repeating crossbow blueprint. This was exactly the ranged weapon he urgently needed. With a repeating crossbow, he would no longer need to risk his own body against fast-moving beasts. He examined the blueprint, covered in drawings of intricate trigger mechanisms. Primary repeating crossbow blueprint. Rank. First rank high-grade description. Craft a primary repeating crossbow once requirements are met. A sophisticated ranged weapon fitted with a 5-bolt magazine. 50-meter maximum range. 30-meter effective killing range. Damage scales with the wielder's strength and bolt quality. Crafting requirements. Wood 463/10, vine 0/5, iron or 10 halves. Attached. Primary bolts crafting requirements. Feather 0/1, beast fong/bone spur 6/1. Produces 10 bolts per craft. He still lacked vines and feathers to build the crossbow and its ammunition. Lin Yu stored the blueprint and looked out at the tangled green vines all around. Now that the mambo was gone, this spot was an unlimited resource node. Drawing his iron axe, he walked up to the thickest cluster of vines and swung. Crack! Green sap splattered as a 2-meter length of vine fell to the ground. Ding! Gathering successful. Obtained. Vine *2. Ding! C-tier talent, double blessing triggered. Bonus loot, vine *2. Lin Yu kept swinging his axe. System alerts chimed with every strike. The doubled resource gain fueled his relentless pace. In less than half an hour, he had cleared most of the vines around the shrubland edge. He checked his backpack. Vine *420. He had far more than the 50 units needed for shelter upgrading, more than enough for crossbow crafting as well. He could even trade excess vines with other survivors, most of whom had likely not found any yet. System, craft the primary repeating crossbow. Lin Yu ordered in his mind. Ding. Sufficient materials detected. Consume wood *10, vine *5, iron or *2 to craft primary repeating crossbow? Yes. The blueprint and required materials vanished from his backpack. White light coalesced in Lin Yu's hands. When the glow faded, a dark crossbow glinted with cold metallic light in his grasp. Its body was carved from tough hardwood, its bowstring twisted from multiple strands of vine, incredibly resilient. Trigger components were cast from smelted iron or fitted together with perfect precision. Lin Yu pulled back the bowstring. Even with 12 points of strength, he felt noticeable resistance. A fantastic piece of gear. Excitement flashed across Lin Yu's eyes. With this weapon, beasts within 30 meters would be shot full of bolts. Yet one critical problem remained. He had no bolts. Bolts required wood and beast fangs, both of which he possessed. He had 4 wolf fangs from the wild wolf he killed previously, plus 2 venomous snake fangs from his recent victory. Feathers were the only missing component. Lin Yu glanced up at the gray, overcast sky. Today was the final day of the novice protection period. Tomorrow the shelter's invincibility would vanish, and the first unknown natural disaster would descend. He had to maximize his combat power before the day ended. I need to find birds. Slinging the crossbow at his waist and gripping his iron axe, Lin Yu strode deeper into the wasteland. Gale force winds drove grains of sand against his skin, stinging his cheeks. Along the way, he opened the regional chat channel. The atmosphere was utterly despairing. Li Jia, this is the last day. Anyone got wood? I'll trade half a bottle of water. I don't want to die. Zhang Shuai. It keeps getting colder out here. I almost froze solid searching for timber. If tomorrow's disaster is a blizzard, we're all done for. Lin Wenwen. Help, hyenas are howling outside. My thatch hut is falling apart. It won't hold tomorrow. Lei Kuang, shut all of you up. At Lin you don't hide. Hand over your supplies today, or I'll tear down your cabin first thing tomorrow. Desperation, fear, rage. Every kind of negative emotion flooded the chat. Lin Yu closed the panel with a blank expression. He paid no mind to fools like Lei Kuang who only knew how to bark threats. His eyes scanned the surrounding terrain like a radar. 1 hour passed. 2 hours passed. Nothing stretched before him but dead trees and rubble. Not a single bird, not even a stray feather. Have I used up all my luck? Lin Yu paused and took a sip of water. Just then, a massive rift came into view along the horizon. Lin Yu perked up and hurried forward. The rift spanned 100 meters across and plunged into unfathomable depths, like a hideous scar cut across the wasteland. Standing at the cliff edge and peering down, he saw strange gray, barked trees covering the rock faces. They bore no leaves, only thick, gnarled branches. Perched in their forks sat enormous nests built from dead wood and animal bones, each over 2 meters in diameter. There we go. Nests mean birds, and birds mean feathers. Lin Yu licked his lips. As he searched for a path downward, his gaze landed on a protruding rock outcrop right at the cliff edge. A corpse lay there. More accurately, the mangled body of a fellow survivor. A huge piercing wound went straight through his chest, exposing internal organs. His death had been brutal. Scattered beside the corpse were several glossy black feathers whose edges were sharp enough to cut skin, glinting with metallic sheen under sunlight. Lin Yu slowed and crept toward the rocky ledge. Winds gusted upward out of the rift, carrying thick stench of blood. The body was a young man, his clothes torn into rags. A bowl-sized perforation ran through his chest, dried black blood crusted around the wound. The fatal injury looked as though something extremely sharp had punched clean through his torso. Lin Yu looked at the corpse, and nausea rose in his throat. He forced it down. Human life meant almost nothing in this savage survival world. Someone chatting on the regional channel one day could turn into a cold corpse the next. He must have come to explore the rift, Lin Yu thought as he scanned his surroundings. Whoever he was, his shelter could not have been far away. Once the first natural disaster was over, Lin Yu might search the vicinity. An abandoned shelter could hold plenty of useful loot. Near the corpse lay scattered wooden blocks and torn plastic wrappers. When survivors died, part of their inventory dropped on the ground. Lin Yu stepped forward and picked them up. Obtained, wood *5, obtained, bread *3. He glanced back at the corpse and shook his head. Digging a grave would waste precious stamina. Blood would draw scavenging beasts soon enough, and the body would feed wasteland wildlife. Lin Yu turned his attention to the black feathers beside the body. He bent down and picked them up. The feathers felt cold, their edges dangerously sharp, capable of slicing open skin with ease. Obtained, Black Hawk Feather *4. Now I have all the materials. Lin Yu opened his system panel. System, craft primary bolts. Ding. Sufficient materials detected. Consume wood *1, venomous snake fong *1, Black Hawk Feather *1 to craft poison. Tip primary bolts 10 units? Yes. Materials are deducted from the backpack. A flash of white light, and a wooden quiver appeared in Lin Yu's hand, holding 10 well-crafted beginner-grade arrows. The arrow shafts were straight, and the arrowheads were ground from viper fangs, glinting with a sickly green sheen. Black eagle feathers were fitted to the rear ends. Beginner poison arrow, rank, grade, 1 high tier. Description, arrows coated with green mamba venom. On impact, they inflict continuous paralysis and toxin damage on targets. Lin Yu slung the quiver at his waist, drew 5 poison arrows, and loaded them one by one into the magazine of his beginner repeating crossbow. Click. The mechanism cocked into place. Armed with this repeating crossbow, his confidence rose substantially. Just then, a piercing cry echoed from above the rift. The sound was so loud it made Lin Yu's eardrums throb. He jerked his head upward. In the gray-tinged sky, a massive dark shape circled overhead. It was an enormous eagle with a wingspan stretching 3 meters. Its plumage was pitch black, shimmering with a metallic luster beneath the light. Its talons were thick and powerful, their tips glinting cold and sharp. A faint blue status panel materialized before Lin Yu's eyes. Black Eagle Wild Beast. Rank, Grade, 1 mid, tier description, Overlord of the Rift Skies, possessing exceptional eyesight. Its talons can easily crush a prey creature's skull, and it dives at terrifying speed. Extremely dangerous. Grade 1 mid-tier. Lin Yu's pupils constricted. The penetrating chest wound on the dead survivor on the ground had definitely been inflicted by this beast's talons. The black eagle circled twice in the air, its sharp gaze locking firmly onto Lin Yu at the cliff edge. It had marked Lin Yu as its new prey. Whoosh. Gale, force winds sprang up. The black eagle beat its great wings, folded them tight, and streaked down from high altitude like a bolt of black lightning. It was far too fast. A chill ran down Lin Yu's spine, and an overwhelming sense of mortal peril washed over him. The gruesome fate of the fallen survivor was fresh in his mind. Run? There was no outrunning it. On this bare cliff edge, there was not a single piece of cover to hide behind. I have no choice but to fight. Lin Yu forced himself to stay calm. He bent his knees slightly to steady his stance, leveled the beginner repeating crossbow with both hands, and aimed at the rapidly expanding dark shape in the sky. 100 meters, 50 meters, 30 meters. Entering effective killing range. Lin Yu squeezed the trigger hard. Twang. The bowstring hummed. A poison arrow tore through the air, whistling toward its target. Yet the black eagle merely tilted one wing mid-flight. The poison arrow skimmed past its feathers and soared upward, not plucking even a single feather. Damn it, I missed. Lin Yu cursed under his breath. Though he possessed decent strength and a grade 1 high tier repeating crossbow, He had zero practical marksmanship experience. Hitting a moving target was beyond him. 20 meters. The Black Eagle was nearly upon him. Lin Yu could make out its hooked beak and razor, sharp talons, and fetid wind washed over his face. Twang, 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 twang. Gritting his teeth, Lin Yu held down the trigger. The crossbow mechanism whirred frantically, firing off the remaining 4 poison arrows in 2 seconds flat. He abandoned precise aiming entirely, relying purely on volume of fire. Second arrow, miss. Third arrow, miss. Fourth arrow, grazed the Black Eagle's belly. Fifth arrow, squelch. Along with a shrill scream of agony, the final poison arrow buried itself deep in the root of the Black Eagle's right wing. The Viper, Fong arrowhead pierced through its tough plumage and sank deep into flesh. Green mamba venom surged through its body instantly. The Black Eagle's huge body stiffened mid-air, its perfect diving trajectory collapsing completely. Losing balance, it plummeted toward the ground. Boom. The Black Eagle crashed onto the rocks 3 meters in front of Lin Yu, sending stone fragments flying everywhere. It struggled to rise, but the deadly green mamba venom was already spreading through its bloodstream. Its right wing hung limp, and its body convulsed uncontrollably. Lin Yu was soaked in cold sweat. If that final shot had failed, he would be the one lying on the ground right now. Strike while the foe is weakened. Without hesitation, Lin Yu drew his sharp iron axe from his waist and strode forward. Gripping the axe handle with both hands, he swung it down hard at the eagle's massive skull. Crack! The iron axe shattered its skull, slaying the beast outright. Ding! Congratulations on killing the grade 1 mid-tier wild beast Black Eagle. As the system notification chimed, Lin Yu let out a long breath. Luck was on my side. He patted his repeating crossbow, thoroughly satisfied with the weapon's power. His aim was terrible, but a single well-placed hit was enough for the venom to turn the tide of battle. Decompose. Ding. Decomposition successful. Obtained. Black Eagle feather times 10. Obtained. Fresh eagle meat times 8. Opening his backpack, Lin Yu inspected his newly acquired loot. Black Eagle feather. Rank. Grade 1 mid-tier. Description. Hard yet lightweight. Excellent material for arrow fletching, improving arrow flight speed and accuracy. Fresh eagle meat. Rank. Grade 1 mid-tier. Description. Firm flesh. Eating it greatly eases hunger and delivers powerful stamina recovery effects. Note: raw consumption carries a high risk of parasitic infection. It is strongly recommended to cook thoroughly before eating. By now daylight was fading, and the wind sweeping across the wasteland grew bitterly cold. The first random natural disaster would arrive tomorrow. Glancing down into the bottomless rift, Lin Yu abandoned further exploration and hurried back toward his log cabin. All required materials had finally been gathered. Tonight, he would upgrade his shelter once more. Before full dark fell, the familiar log cabin came into view. He pushed the door open, shut it behind him, and slid home the heavy bolt. Shutting out the frigid wind, Lin Yu let out a deep sigh of relief. Sitting down on the wooden bed, he opened his backpack and tallied up his supplies accumulated over the past 2 days. Lumber times 458, stone times 236, vine times 415, iron ore times 3, wolf meat times 3, fresh snake meat times 3, fresh eagle meat times 8. The original fresh wolf meat degraded into wolf meat after 1 day. The backpack offers no food preservation function. Sharp iron axe, beginner repeating crossbow, pickaxe, beginner poison arrow times 5, half bottle of mineral water, flint, wolf hide, wolf fong times 4, viper fong times 1, black eagle feather times 10. His stockpile of resources was quite substantial. System, upgrade the shelter. Lin Yu called out in his mind. Ding. Sufficient materials detected. Consume lumber times 100, vine times 50, stone times 200 to upgrade the shelter? Yes. The corresponding supplies vanished from his backpack in an instant. A brilliant white light, brighter than any previous upgrade, engulfed the entire cabin. Standing at the center of the room, Lin Yu watched as the wooden walls hardened and shifted color within the glow. Log-built walls transformed into neatly stacked gray, white stone blocks fitted tightly together without the slightest gap. Wood planks and dry thatch on the roof were replaced by thick sloped stone slabs. The earthen floor turned into smooth, level bluestone paving. The original 2-inch thick wooden door became a heavy reinforced door with a bolt as thick as an adult's arm. The howl of the outer wind was completely sealed away. Inside, the room was so quiet he could hear his own breathing. Sturdy stone hut. Rank. Grade. 2 low. Tier durability. 100 out of 100 defense. 75 description. An impregnable stone shelter. Its defensive capabilities have undergone a qualitative leap. It can withstand full power assaults from grade 1 late-tier beasts. It delivers outstanding heat retention, moisture resistance, and sound insulation. Interior space expanded to 50 square meters. Next, level upgrade requirements. Lumber 358/300, stone 36/300, iron ore 3/50, glass 0/10. Defense value shot straight up to 75. Running a hand over the cold solid stone wall, Lin Yu felt an unprecedented sense of safety. Even when the natural disaster struck tomorrow, this stone hut should keep him safe, so long as no grade 2 or higher monsters appeared. That said, the requirements for the next upgrade were extremely demanding. Beyond greater quantities of basic resources, iron, ore, and glass were now required. He only possessed 3 units of iron ore obtained from treasure chests, and he had never even laid eyes on glass. Lin Yu suspected both materials were mainly acquired from treasure chests. Iron ore veins might exist somewhere out in the savage wilderness, yet glass certainly could not form naturally there. Treasure chests would be his primary source for glass. Lin Yu had just sat down intending to start a fire and roast meat when 3 blazing golden system banners popped up in the regional chat channel. Regional announcement. Congratulations to Survivor Lin Yu of Sector 9527 for being the first to upgrade a shelter to grade 2 low-tier sturdy stone hut. Regional announcement. Congratulations to Survivor Lin Yu of Sector 9527 for being the first to upgrade a shelter to grade 2 low-tier sturdy stone hut. Regional announcement. Congratulations to Survivor Lin Yu of Sector 9527 for being the first to upgrade a shelter to grade 2 low-tier sturdy stone hut. The moment the announcements appeared, the normally busy regional channel fell silent for a heartbeat before erupting into activity. Ligia Stone Hut. I'm still shivering inside my drafty thatched shack, and Lin Yu is living in a stone building already? Zhang Shuai. There has to be a closed beta player among us. I can't believe this. I chopped trees all day until my palms blistered, and I only scraped together materials for a grade 1 mid-tier shelter upgrade. Qian Duo. Respect to the great Lin Yu. Sir, do you need an extra follower? I can cheer you on non-stop. Lin Wenwen. Brother Lin Yu, is your stone hut warm? It's freezing cold over here. Lei Kuang at Lin Yu. You must be cheating. Just you wait. Once novice protection expires tomorrow, I'll gather men to smash your worthless stone hut and seize all your supplies. Jealousy, shock, flattery, open threats. All sorts of sentiments flooded the regional chat, yet Lin Yu paid them no mind. Another private system notification sounded in his head. Ding. As the first survivor in this region to upgrade a shelter to grade 2 low-tier, you receive reward. Bronze treasure chest ×1. The cold mechanical voice echoed in his mind. A heavy chest shimmering with bronze luster materialized out of thin air upon the bluestone floor. Lin Yu stepped forward and examined the chest. Bronze treasure chest. Description: randomly spawning wilderness chest. Opening it guarantees basic survival supplies, with a chance for blueprints, equipment, or construction materials. Lin Yu grasped the bronze latch and heaved it upward. Click. The lid swung open. 3 glowing orbs rose from within, and successive system alerts rang out. Ding. Bronze treasure chest opened successfully. Obtained. Glass ×5. Obtained. Campfire construction blueprint ×1. Obtained. Beast trap. Right afterward, notification for his C-rank talent double blessing triggered. Ding. C-rank talent double blessing activated. Bonus reward. Glass ×5. Seeing his glass count jump to 10 in his backpack, Lin Yu cracked a smile. Glass, the bottleneck resource required for upgrading his grade 2 low-tier sturdy stone hut, was now fully obtained. Truly, get ahead early, and you stay ahead. He turned his attention to his other 2 new items. Campfire construction blueprint. Rank. Grade 1 mid-tier description. Allows construction of a perpetually burning campfire once material conditions are met. Consumes only lumber ×1 per day to keep burning for 24 hours. Supports cooking and boiling water. Slightly boosts the nutritional value and recovery bonus of prepared food. Construction requirements. Stone ×10, lumber ×5. Another fantastic item. His previous makeshift fire pit had devoured firewood constantly, produced unstable heat, and yielded tough, unappetizing roasted meat. With this blueprint, heating and food preparation troubles were largely solved. His old flint, acquired through trade, was now rendered obsolete. He inspected the final piece of gear. Beast trap. Rank. Grade 1 mid-tier durability. 2020 description. A finely forged iron mechanical trap. Place it in the wilderness to capture small to medium-grade, wild beasts. Using bait drastically raises capture odds. Lin Yu stowed the beast trap in his backpack. It would prove highly useful for tomorrow's exploration trips. System, construct the campfire. Ding. Sufficient materials detected. Consume stone times 10, lumber times 5 to construct the campfire? Yes. Materials were deducted from his backpack. The shabby fire pit at the center of the stone hut was enveloped in white light. When the light faded, a circular fire pit built from neatly stacked blue, gray stones stood in its place. Stable orange, red flames burned within. Temperatures inside the hut climbed rapidly, chasing away every trace of chill lingering in the corners. Lin Yu sighed with feeling. Now this is what proper living feels like. Once the campfire was set up, Lin Yu took 2 portions of fresh snake meat from his backpack. He whittled wooden skewers with his sharp iron axe and threaded the meat onto them for roasting. Flames lapped against the snake meat, fat oozing out and sizzling loudly. Lin Yu noticed the remaining 3 units of fresh wolf meat in his backpack had degraded to plain wolf meat. Truly, the backpack offered no refrigeration. By tomorrow, it would likely turn into spoiled wolf meat. Still, Lin Yu had no intention of eating the wolf meat right away. He would not make the mistake of saving his best supplies for later only to end up eating spoiled ones. These 3 units of wolf meat could be traded on the regional channel for resources he needed. He would prioritize consuming his freshest food first. Less than 10 minutes later, rich savory aroma filled the stone hut. Lin Yu bit into the roasted snake meat. The flesh was firm, crisp on the outside and tender within, infinitely better than the charred wolf meat he had eaten previously. Ding! You have eaten cooked snake meat. Your stamina regeneration rate is increased. Warmth spread through his stomach. Leaning back against his wooden bed, Lin Yu reopened the regional chat channel to read through messages. As night deepened, conversations about Lin Yu's stone hut faded away. The shadow of death hung heavy over every survivor. Li Jie, it's freezing. I piled every scrap of thatch over my body, yet I still shiver non-stop. Zhang Shuai, I just checked outside. Temperatures have dropped below 0. Tomorrow brings the natural disaster, and I'm convinced it will be a cold snap. Lin Wenwen, does anyone have extra thatch? Please lend me 5 units. I swear I will pay you back tomorrow. My hands and feet are going numb from cold. Lu Meng, stop whining. Lumber and thatch mean survival right now. I just watched one contact's avatar turn gray. That person definitely froze to death. Su Yueshi, if the disaster really is a cold snap, people without upgraded thatch shelters might not even survive this night. Reading the scrolling messages, Lin Yu pondered the situation. His sturdy stone hut offered excellent insulation, and with the campfire blazing, he actually felt somewhat warm inside. Outdoors, however, the wasteland had turned into a deep freeze. Should the natural disaster indeed be a cold snap, the wilderness would become a death trap tomorrow. Exploring and resource gathering would become impossible. Survivors would be forced to hunker down inside their shelters. There was no urgency to trade his surplus supplies for now. Their value would skyrocket tomorrow. Other survivors would be forced to part with their most precious resources. Closing the chat interface, he glanced at the top, right corner timestamp. 23 hours, 55 minutes, and 10 seconds. Less than 5 minutes remained until novice protection expired. Lin Yu drew a deep breath and watched the countdown. No matter what form tomorrow's disaster took, he needed more cards up his sleeve. Seconds ticked onward. 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds midnight. Cold mechanical alerts detonated inside his mind exactly on schedule. Ding. Novice protection period has ended. Ding. First random natural disaster has been generated. Descending. Ding. Infinite derivative talent activated. Rolling for today's random talent. 3 notifications rang simultaneously. Lin Yu's primary focus was his brand, new talent. Ding. Congratulations. You have obtained C, rank talent, bullseye. Lin Yu pulled up his status sheet immediately. C, rank talent, bullseye. Effect. Your dynamic vision and muscular control reach peak efficiency. When wielding any ranged physical weapon, so long as targets lie within effective range, your hit rate is locked at 100%. Lin Yu's eyes lit up. While it was not the cold resistance talent he had hoped for, this was an immensely powerful combat talent. That afternoon fighting the Black Eagle, 4 out of 5 crossbow bolts had missed. Poor marksmanship had been his biggest weakness. With the C-rank talent bullseye paired with his 5-shot repeating crossbow and venom-coated beginner poison arrows, he would be near invincible within 30 meters. Every shot would land true, every arrow lethal. Drawing his beginner repeating crossbow from his waist, Lin Yu ran his fingers over its cold mechanism. He felt far more attuned to the weapon. His growing power filled him with greater resolve. At that very moment, the stone hut walls gave a faint tremor. Crack, crack, crack. Faint frost, forming noises drifted in through the door cracks. Lin Yu stowed his crossbow and walked to the heavy door, peering out through the gaps. Winds across the wasteland had died down. In their place, pale white snowflakes drifted down from above. Where snow touched the ground, ice formed instantly. As far as the eye could see, the whole world was being swallowed by ice and snow at frightening speed. Global region announcement. First natural disaster, cold snap, has descended. Current outdoor temperature, minus 15 degrees Celsius. Temperatures will keep falling. Duration, 3 days. Good luck to all survivors. Lin Yu stared at snow piling rapidly outside the door crack, his expression grave. Good luck indeed. How could anyone count on luck in such frigid conditions? At these temperatures, venturing out for resources was out of the question. Even staying inside shelters without adequate warmth would lead to freezing death. Lin Yu sat down on his wooden bed, bathing in rolling heat radiating from the campfire. His sturdy stone hut sealed out wind and snow completely. Indoor temperature hovered around 20 degrees Celsius. He laid his wolf hide over thick layers of thatch and settled onto it. The wolf hide was tough with soft, dense fur, providing excellent warmth. This is real comfort. Resting his hands behind his head, he listened to the faint howl of the blizzard raging outside. He paid no more attention to the whales flooding the regional channel. In this world, sympathy saved no one. Only strength and supplies were the sole capital for survival. Lin Yu closed his eyes and quickly fell asleep. Meanwhile, 9 kilometers away, a low-grade tier, one thatched hut shook violently in the fierce gale. White frost spread visibly through cracks in the door and walls. Lei Kuang huddled in a corner, covered only by a thin layer of thatch. His prized B-rank talent lightning enhancement was utterly useless against the sub-zero cold wave. Lightning could slay wild beasts, yet it could not start fires nor block bitter winds. Damn it, damn it! Lei Kuang's teeth chattered, his eyes bloodshot. He opened the regional chat channel and spammed messages frantically. Lei Kuang, who has wood? Who has fire? I'll protect you all with my B-rank talent. Give me supplies. Lei Kuang, say something. You lot of useless trash. Believe it or not, I'll hunt every last one of you down tomorrow. His messages sank without a trace. The channel overflowed with cries for help, and no one paid his threats any mind. Everyone clung precariously to life. Even those who had feared him before had no bandwidth left for him now. Lin Yu, that brat Lin Yu must have hoarded all the supplies. Lei Kuang laid all his grievances at Lin Yu's feet. Cold crept upward from his soles, and he felt his blood on the verge of freezing solid. He piled every scrap of thatch around him over his body, shivering in the bitter cold like a desperate stray dog. Somewhere else on the wasteland, behind a wind-sheltering slope, a drafty thatched hut was half buried under snow. Inside, Lin Wenwen curled up on the cold dirt floor, her lips purple and face deathly pale. Lin Wenwen had been a college student, the pampered little princess of her class who habitually referred to herself as this princess or this fairy. Yet in this savage survival world, she could not even gather materials to upgrade to a low-grade tier 1 thatched hut. During the day, she had feared the cold and wild beasts and stayed holed up indoors, trying to beg for supplies through pleading posts in the regional channel. She kept calling out for Big Brother in overly affectionate tones. At first, a few men sent her small amounts of wood and thatch, but those supplies were far from enough to upgrade her shelter. When the cold wave struck and temperatures plummeted, the little comfort those materials had offered vanished instantly. It's so cold, Lin Wenwen's consciousness began to fade. Her trembling fingers tapped open the regional channel. Lin Wenwen, save me. Can anyone spare some wood? I'll do anything I can to repay you. Lin Wenwen. Brothers, please, I'm going to freeze to death. No one replied. In the face of survival, pity, seeking pleas and empty emotional appeals were worthless. Snow gusted through gaps in the worn thatched roof, settling in ice crystals in her hair. Lin Wenwen's breathing grew shallower and shallower. She regretted her choices. If only she had mustered the courage to cut trees or gather thatch during the day, she might have upgraded her shelter and survived the night. But it was too late now. Cold swallowed her heart completely. Lin Wenwen's eyes slid shut. Her body stiffened, and she fell forever silent. Through the endless night, the merciless cold wave reaped countless lives. Early the next morning, Lin Yu woke inside his warm stone hut. Firewood still burned in the campfire, keeping the interior at around 20 degrees Celsius. He stretched, his physical stamina from the previous day fully restored. The wooden bed's recovery effect worked remarkably well. Lin Yu sat up and walked to the heavy wooden door, lifting the bolt. Creak. A crack opened in the door. Biting wind and snow burst inward, making Lin Yu shiver. The wasteland outside had turned into a snow-covered white world. Snow piled half a meter deep, and icicles hung from dead tree branches. Current outdoor temperature, minus 25 degrees Celsius. Glancing at the system prompt, Lin Yu shut the door tightly. Without proper cold weather clothing, anyone would freeze stiff within 10 minutes out in this temperature. He walked over to the campfire, skewered a piece of fresh eagle meat on a wooden spike, and began roasting it. While the meat cooked, he opened the regional chat channel. Message scrolls moved far more slowly than before. Lin Yu's gaze fell on the population counter in the upper right corner. Zone 95-27 population, 7,642/10,000. Lin Yu's heart jolted. More than 2,300 people had died in a single night. And this was only the first night of the cold wave. The natural disaster would last 3 more days, and temperatures would drop further. At this rate, it would be a miracle if half the population remained alive by the end. Survivors exchanged desperate messages in the channel. Zhang Shuai. People are dying left and right. My friend list is grayed out in huge swathes. Li Jie. This is terrifying. Listen everyone, covering yourself with thatch does offer some cold resistance. Qian Duo. Thank God I upgraded to a thatched hut. I'd be dead if I still had that drafty hovel. This teaches us one lesson. Supplies are everything. Su Yueshi. The snow is so heavy I can barely push my door open. No way to go look for treasure chests. Li Ergu. Does anyone know how to start a fire? If we could get fires going, we might stand a chance out here. Zhou Yan. I used to have flint, but I traded it away. QAQ. Qian Duo. Even if you can start a fire, you don't have endless firewood to burn. Despair rippled across the regional channel. Lin Yu checked the trade panel. Nearly every listing was a desperate request for wood, thatch, or warm gear. He checked his backpack. Wood asterisk 358 thatch asterisk 200 vine asterisk 365 stone asterisk 36. Though upgrading his stone hut the night before had consumed large quantities of basic resources, he still held substantial stockpiles. Wood and thatch were priceless commodities right now. Lin Yu chose not to sell immediately. The worst despair had not yet arrived. When temperatures dropped again that night, their value would double. He turned the roasting meat over. Tempting aroma drifted off the cooked eagle meat. In this brutal cold, a hot meal was an immense luxury. Ding. You have eaten roasted eagle meat. Stamina recovery rate increased. Satisfied, he finished the last bite of eagle meat and tossed the sharpened wooden spike into the campfire. Flames devoured the wood with faint crackling sounds. Warmth filled his stomach. Combined with the wooden bed's restorative effect, he felt brimming with strength. Lin Yu stood and walked toward the heavy wooden door. Outside lay minus 25-degree extreme cold. We will be safe staying indoors for these 3 days of disaster, yet supplies will not appear out of thin air. He gripped the thick door bolt. In this cruel world, comfort was slow, acting suicide. He needed his body to adapt to these frigid conditions and learn to move across this snow-covered wasteland. Creak. The door cracked open. Gale-driven ice particles stung Lin Yu's face like countless tiny blades. Cold. Piercing cold. Merely standing in the doorway, he felt his body heat rapidly draining away. Every breath billowed into white mist that froze into frost on his eyelashes. He took a deep breath, pushed the door fully open, and stepped out into the snowstorm. Snow reached above his knees. Every step cost far more stamina than usual. The wasteland's original brown, gray landscape was completely buried beneath blinding white. Lin Yu fought against the wind and snow, trudging in a circle around his stone hut. No good. Visibility and temperature are far too low. Long-range exploration is plain suicide. Blizzard conditions erased landmarks. Venturing far risked getting lost and freezing into an ice sculpture. He immediately abandoned plans for distant exploration. If I cannot go out hunting, then I will make prey come to me. Lin Yu pulled out the iron beast trap he had obtained from the bronze treasure chest the night before. The heavy, finely crafted iron mechanism glinted coldly. He moved to a snow-sheltered spot behind his hut, used his iron axe to hack a shallow pit into the frozen ground, and set the trap, forcing open its spiked iron jaws. Click. The mechanism locked, ready to crush any creature that triggered it. Next, he took out a chunk of wolf meat from his backpack. Stored inside the inventory for a full day, it had not spoiled, seemingly preserved by the extreme cold. The cold wave is deadly, yet it doubles as a natural refrigerator. Realization dawned on Lin Yu. The deadly freeze had also solved the problem of food spoilage. He carefully placed the frozen wolf meat onto the trap's trigger plate, and lightly covered the device with surrounding snow. Having finished setting up, Lin Yu wasted no time and hurried back to his stone hut. Only 10 minutes had passed, yet his hands and feet were numb with cold, and his facial muscles stiffened so much he could barely move them. He bolted the wooden door shut, sealing off the blizzard. Lin Yu hurried to the campfire and held his hands toward the flames. Dancing firelight played across his stern features. Circulation returned to his stiff limbs, bringing prickling, tingling sensations. Phew, he felt alive again. Lin Yu took off his snow-soaked coat and hung it beside the wooden bed to dry. He dared not stay outdoors for long, partly because he lacked proper cold weather gear. Right now he only owned a thin outer jacket, short-sleeved shirt, and jeans. No wonder the cold bit so fiercely. Sitting beside the warm campfire, he opened the system panel. Zone 95-27 population, 7,120/10,000. In just that short span, more than 500 additional people had perished. The ticking death toll hung like a guillotine blade over every survivor's head. Panic peaked in the regional chat channel. Li Jia, I cannot take it anymore. Who will give me a few units of wood? I will give anything I have. Zhang Shuai, stop begging. Wood equals life right now. No one will trade away their survival. Qian Duo, I have some food. Will anyone trade wood to me for food? Su Yueshi, I am starving and desperate for warm food. Yet my wood supplies are also running low. Wails filled the channel. Lin Yu read the messages with a blank expression. This extreme cold wave was not a chance for rest. It was the perfect opportunity to corner the market. Temperatures had rocketed the value of wood and thatch. He opened the trade panel. The marketplace lay mostly dormant. The few posted listings were people offering worthless junk in exchange for wood and food. Drawing 0 takers. Lin Yu checked his overflowing inventory. Wood *358 thatch *200 vine *365 stone *36. The time to reap rewards has arrived. Lin Yu tapped the translucent interface and posted 10 trade listings. Seller. Lin Yu items offered. Wood *10, thatch *10 bundle trade. Wanted. Blueprints, glass, iron, or special items. Note. No basic materials, no worthless junk. Message with your offers. Do not waste my time if you have nothing of value. The moment the listing went live, the lifeless regional channel exploded. Li Jia, holy cow. Big shot Lin Yu. He still has wood. Zhang Shuai, 10 units of wood plus thatch. That is literally life-saving supplies. Qian Duo, truly a top-tier survivor. To have such stockpiles in this weather. Respect. Lin Yu's private message inbox flooded non-stop. He ignored the notifications and warmed his hands by the campfire as flames leaped higher. Then opened his private message list. 90% of incoming messages were useless pleas. Li Xia, Big Brother Lin Yu, please spare me some supplies. I will repay you once this disaster ends. Sun Haozhe, man, we are all human. We ought to help each other. Share your wood, and everyone will remember your kindness. Li Ergu Lin Yu, how can you hoard supplies like this? You will be cursed for this. Lin Yu ignored moral grandstanding and impotent rage, not even bothering to block these senders. His fingers swept across the glowing screen, filtering through thousands of unread messages. Faced with mortal danger, people revealed hidden resources and desperate ambitions. He skipped past beggars and moral lecturers and focused on messages with item screenshots attached. Lu Jiala, Sir Lin Yu, I have 3 units of glass. Can I trade them for 10 wood and 10 thatch? I only need these materials to upgrade my thatched hut into a log cabin. Glass. Lin Yu's fingers paused. Glass, 10 units of it, was the bottleneck resource for upgrading his sturdy stone hut to the next tier. He had already obtained 10 units from the bronze treasure chest the night before through his talent. These extra 3 units would serve as valuable backup. Lin Yu deal. He haggled no further. In this deadly cold, 10 units each of wood and thatch cost him almost nothing, yet for Lu Jiala they meant survival. Ding. Trade completed. Lost. Wood *10, thatch *10. Gained. Glass *3. Immediately after the transaction, a message popped up in the regional channel. Lu Jiala. Thank you so much, Sir Lin Yu. I upgraded to a log cabin. I'm going to survive. May good fortune bless you. This post made private messages pour in even faster. Witnessing a real chance at survival, survivors rummaged through their inventories for anything that might interest Lin Yu. Ignoring the praise in public chat, Lin Yu kept reading private messages. Long Wuya, leather armor crafting blueprint image attachment. Long Wuya, Lin Yu, I don't need wood or thatch. My shelter is already a log cabin, enough to withstand current temperatures. What I want is hot food, something to restore stamina. Lin Yu opened the attached screenshot. Leather armor crafting blueprint rank. Low-grade tier. 1 description. Allows crafting of leather armor once requirements are met. Greatly boosts physical defense and grants moderate cold resistance. Crafting requirements. Beast hide *1, vine *2. This was excellent gear. Lin Yu badly needed cold-resistant clothing and defensive equipment. He happened to possess a wolf hide looted from the wolf he had killed. Long Wuya was sharp. He understood hot-cooked food could restore strength faster than extra firewood in this frozen wasteland. Lin Yu, 1 roasted wolf meat? Long Wuya agreed. Lin Yu walked to the campfire, skewered wolf meat, and held it over the flames. 5 minutes later, fat dripped and rich meat aroma filled the hut. He took the roasted wolf meat and placed it in the trade window. Ding. Trade completed. Lost. Roasted wolf meat *1. Gained. Leather armor crafting blueprint. Without delay, Lin Yu selected the blueprint from his backpack and activated the system interface. System, craft leather armor. Ding. Materials detected. Consume wolf hide *1 and vine *2 to craft leather armor? Yes. The required items vanished from his inventory. White light flashed, and a thick, roughly crafted set of leather armor materialized in Lin Yu's hands. Gray-brown wolf fur covered its outer surface, and vines were tightly woven for the inner lining. Lin Yu took off his thin jacket and slipped on the leather armor. Warmth wrapped around his torso instantly. His cold, stiff joints loosened completely. Leather armor rank. Low-grade tier. 1 durability. 35/35 defense. 10 description. Armor forged from beast hide. Provides solid physical defense and cold resistance. With this, you can endure the frozen wasteland. Equipping this piece of gear raised Lin Yu's survival capability to a new level. Inside a log cabin shelter elsewhere on the wasteland, Long Wuya tore into the roasted wolf meat ravenously. Warmth spread through his body, lifting his spirits drastically. Long Wuya possessed a B-rank talent and had worked hard gathering resources, upgrading his shelter all the way to a log cabin. Yet he had terrible luck finding food. For days he had barely survived off a single traded loaf of bread. Starving, he had risked trading away his precious leather armor blueprint for hot food, and the deal had succeeded. He knew the blueprint held great value, but without beast hide, it was useless in his hands anyway. A hot meal felt like a fair trade. This Lin Yu is extraordinary. He holds massive stockpiles of building materials and even surplus food, Long Wuya thought to himself. He wondered what he would do if he ever crossed paths with Lin Yu out in the wild. Lin Yu prepared to keep sorting through private messages when a new notification popped up. Zhou Yan, Lin Yu, give my flint back. Lin Yu recognized this name. This was the man who had traded him flint for 15 units of wood the previous day. Zhou Yan, I burned through all that wood you gave me long ago. I'm freezing to death now. That flint was mine, give it back. Lin Yu almost laughed at the message. He suppressed his amusement and typed flatly. Lin Yu, you consumed the wood. Goods exchanged, no refunds. Zhou Yan, you are condemning me to death. What use do you have for so many supplies? Just lend me the flint for 1 single day. I don't want to die. Lin Yu sent no further reply. Once a trade concluded, its terms were binding. Everyone bore responsibility for their own choices. Flint was incredibly valuable amid this cold wave, one of the few reliable tools for starting fires. With flint plus wood and thatch, one could survive the freeze. As Lin Yu prepared to add Zhou Yan to his block list, another hostile private message arrived. Lei Kuang, Lin Yu, don't push your luck. Lei Kuang, I know you have piles of wood and food. Trade them over to me right now. I have a B-rank talent. Once this disaster ends, I can protect you. Lei Kuang, if you refuse to cooperate, I will smash your stone hut to rubble and tear you apart the moment I get through these 3 days. Lei Kuang sent this through the trade chat system. Lin Yu read the stream of angry threats with total calm. This type of man might have been a violent bully back in their original world, used to coercing others with threats of force. Yet here, distance and deadly cold formed the best barrier. Lei Kuang could not even leave his own hut. He could only vent his terror through typed text. Lin Yu did not even bother typing a response. He tapped on Lei Kuang's avatar and selected block. Peace returned. He stood up and walked over to the stone house window. The window was crude, merely a narrow gap left between stacked stones. Outside, snow raged, and visibility was extremely poor. The howling gale was blocked out by the sturdy stone walls. Inside the hut, the crackling of the campfire brought a profound sense of security. At this moment, he somewhat understood Zhou Yan and Lei Kuang, and why they had grown so extreme. Lei Kuang was one thing. Cruelty might simply be his nature. But Zhou Yan had surely been driven to desperation by these brutal weather conditions, which was why he had set aside his pride to beg for help. Still, that was no reason for Lin Yu to feel sympathy for him. Private messages on the trading interface kept flashing frantically, yet few held truly valuable resources. The Savage survival game had only been running for 3 days. Even if most survivors wandered the wilderness each day, their odds of finding treasure chests remained slim. No blueprints, no special items. Woodcutting and stone gathering efficiency stayed low. On the rare occasions blueprints were sent over, they were mostly low-value items such as crude wooden bowl or simple straw sandals. Times are tough. Lin Yu shook his head and approved a few trade requests. He had more than enough wood. Once the cold wave passed, he could use his sharp iron axe to fell trees at greatly increased speed. Lin Yu kept trading. He no longer demanded rare items, instead exchanging for basic survival consumables. Obtained. Kang Shuifu mineral water 500 milliliters times 5. Obtained. Old sauerkraut instant noodles bucket times 4. Obtained. Toilet paper times 10. In the savage survival world, water and instant noodles acted as hard currency. Lin Yu could already melt snow over the campfire for water, so his water supply was secure. Still, clean industrially produced drinking water and high-calorie instant food with sugar could save enormous cooking time in emergencies. Glancing at his backpack, his stockpile of basic supplies had grown considerably. Lin Yu closed the translucent system panel and stretched. Vine strips and wolf fur lining his leather armor clung to his torso, locking in the warmth from the campfire. He walked toward the sturdy 2-meter wooden bed, ready to lie down and make use of its passive fatigue recovery effect. Squeak, squeak, sharp, shrill cries suddenly came from outside the heavy wooden door of the stone house. It was neither wolf howling nor the roar of a large beast. The sounds were rapid and piercing, carrying the agony of bones being pierced by sharp fangs. Lin Yu's eyes sharpened, and he halted at once. The beast trap must have triggered. Without hesitation, he drew his primary repeating crossbow with its cold metallic glint from his waist and flipped open the safety latch. Then he picked up his sharp iron axe in his left hand and strode toward the wooden door. Outside lay bitter -25-degree weather. If prey were left out in the open, it would freeze rock solid in barely 10 minutes, making skinning and butchering impossible. He pulled back the thick bolt and pushed the heavy wooden door half a foot ajar. Howling wind drove heavy snow through the gap, rustling against his leather armor. Lin Yu tilted his head and looked toward the snow hollow on the leeward slope. In the snow-covered shallow pit, a gray-white creature thrashed wildly. Bright red blood splattered across the snow-blanketed ground, yet it froze into icy red fragments the instant it touched the surface. It was a gray hare, unlike the docile rabbits of the real world. A pale blue status panel floated into view. Gray hare beast, rank, early tier 1 description, a wilderness hare with highly developed hind legs, capable of running fast and burrowing deep in snow. Its mutated teeth can gnaw through tough bark and frozen soil. Its meat is exceptionally tasty, rich in high-grade protein and fat. Status: severe bleeding, extreme terror. This snowfield gray hare, twice the size of a house cat, had its right hind leg clamped firmly in a fine iron beast trap. The barbed iron jaws bit deep into bone, fragments of pale bone visible within the wound. Beside the trap's trigger plate, the frozen wolf meat Lin Yu had placed earlier was nearly 1/3 eaten by the hare. A rabbit eating meat? Lin Yu's gaze shifted slightly. In this snow-locked world at -25°C, half-meter-thick ice covered the land. No grass roots or bark remained to feed on. To survive, even herbivorous rabbits had mutated into omnivorous monsters. Eat meat or die? Lin Yu wasted no time in the blizzard. Holding his primary repeating crossbow, he scanned the surrounding 30 meters for footprints or hidden predators. Seeing none, he stepped forward quickly. Spotting his approach, the hare's blood-red eyes blazed with ferocity. Bearing its large mutated incisors, it tried to drag the heavy iron trap toward him to bite. Lin Yu stepped down onto the hare's head. Gripping the axe handle firmly with both hands, he brought it down precisely. Crack! The sound of a shattered skull was swallowed by the wind and snow. The hare's body convulsed violently twice, then went still. Bending down, Lin Yu lifted the heavy iron trap together with the hare's corpse and hurried back into the stone house. He slammed the door shut and slid home the bolt. Shutting out the blizzard, the warm air of the hut washed over him. Walking over to the campfire, he pried open the iron jaws and dropped the blood-stained hare corpse onto a flat bluestone slab. He checked the beast trap in his hand. Beast trap, rank, mid-tier 1 durability, 1520 description, a fine iron mechanical trap. When deployed in the wild, it can capture small to mid-sized tier 1 beasts. Lost 5 durability points, but I gained precious meat. Well worth it, Lin Yu thought to himself. At this rate of wear, the trap could catch prey 3 more times. System decompose. Lin Yu mentally addressed the hare corpse on the ground. Following system instructions, he gestured with his iron axe. White light swept over the spot. The corpse vanished, turning into neatly sorted supplies inside his backpack. Ding. Decomposition successful. Congratulations, you have obtained fresh rabbit meat times 3. Congratulations, you have obtained rabbit hide times 1. Lin Yu opened its property details. Fresh rabbit meat. Rank. Mid-tier 1 description. Exceptionally tender and delicious meat, far richer in fat than ordinary hares. Consuming it rapidly restores stamina, greatly eases hunger, and grants mild cold resistance lasting 2 hours. Note: recommended to be cooked before eating. Rabbit hide. Rank. Low tier 1 description. A thick, dense natural fur hide with outstanding heat-retaining properties. Can be crafted into armor, hats, or warm inner linings. Meat that grants cold resistance, plus fur for making gear. Perfect. Lin Yu stowed the supplies contentedly. The trip out into the snow had paid off. Who said you could not gather resources during a cold wave disaster? He had just proven it possible. The snow hollow outside should not be left empty. During this catastrophe, every wild creature hunted for food. A sheltered spot reeking of meat made for the perfect wilderness baiting point. Lin Yu returned to the door and pulled it open. The blizzard still raged, even fiercer than a dozen minutes earlier. He hurried to the leeward slope, snow hollow, kicked away the frozen blood remains left by the hare, and smoothed the ground with his iron axe. Opening the trap's jaws, he placed a piece of fresh snake meat squarely on its trigger plate. Click! The mechanism locked, ready to spring. He kicked dry snow over the trap edges to conceal it, leaving only the strongly scented snake meat exposed. Once finished, he hurried back inside and firmly locked the heavy wooden door. He took off his leather armor and hung it by the wooden bed. He glanced at the system clock in the upper right corner. 13 hours 15 minutes and 22 seconds. Noon had passed. Outside, the temperature had dropped to minus 28 degrees Celsius. Lying back on the wooden bed layered with straw and wolf pelt, hands behind his head, Lin Yu closed his eyes. Listening to the dull thud of gales beating against the stone walls, he had only one thought in mind. He would take a long, satisfying midday nap. Lin Yu slept deeply. Firewood crackled in the campfire, orange-red flames flickering across the solid stone walls. Lin Yu opened his eyes, stared up at the thick stone roof for a few seconds, and fully woke. He sat up and stretched his limbs. The accumulated muscle soreness and mental strain of recent days faded completely. The recovery bonus from the wooden bed was truly remarkable. He checked the system clock again. 23 hours 12 minutes and 45 seconds. He had slept nearly 10 hours. Throwing off the rabbit hide covering him, he climbed out of bed. The temperature inside hovered around 20 degrees Celsius, yet bitter cold still seeped in near the wooden door. The blizzard outside had not weakened at all. Wind pounded against the stone walls, producing low, rumbling booms. Lin Yu opened the regional chat channel. Outdoor temperature, minus 32 degrees Celsius. Zone 95-27 survivors, 6385/10,000. Cold numbers. Between daytime and part of the night, more than 700 people in the zone had perished. Messages scrolled far more slowly in the chat channel. Those still alive either had found ways to stay warm, or were too frozen to open the panel and type. Zhao Gang. Someone, please save me, my thatched hut collapsed. Li Jia, stop begging. Nobody can go out in this weather. Stepping outside means death. Qian Duo, when will this hellish weather end? Su Yueshi, I desperately need a fire source, or I will freeze to death. Does anyone have fire? Despair spread through the channel. Lin Yu closed regional chat and opened his private message list. The unread message indicator read 999+. Most messages were pleas for help, begging, or curses. Lin Yu scrolled quickly, filtering out all useless noise. His gaze landed on one private message with an attached screenshot. Zhu Meihua, Lin Yu, I have a blueprint. Can I trade it for 20 units of wood? I really cannot hold on much longer. Zhu Meihua, refrigerator construction blueprint JPG. Lin Yu opened the screenshot. Refrigerator construction blueprint. Rank, low tier 2. Description, builds refrigeration and freezing storage equipment once requirements are met. 1 cubic meter internal volume. No electricity required. Greatly extends food preservation time. Construction requirements. Iron ore times 10, glass times 5, stone times 20, wood times 20. Lin Yu frowned and thought it over. In the current freeze, this item was practically useless. With temperatures dropping below minus 30 degrees, the whole wilderness acted as a natural giant freezer. Food spoilage was not a concern, but the disaster would only last 3 days. Once temperatures rose, a heat wave disaster might well follow. Without preservation methods, all stored meat would rot within hours. Lin Yu thought long-term. He understood this blueprint's latent value. Lin Yu deal. He did not haggle, trading 20 units of wood for a currently useless tier 2 blueprint was a fair bargain for Zhu Meihua in this deadly cold. The reply came almost instantly. She had clearly been waiting by her panel. Zhu Meihua, thank you. Thank you so much. You saved my life. Ding. Trade successful. Lost. Wood times 20. Obtained. Refrigerator construction blueprint times 1. Stowing the blueprint in his backpack, he kept reading private messages. A familiar name caught his eye, Zhou Yan. Lin Yu realized he had only blocked Lei Kuang before his nap and forgotten Zhou Yan. Opening their conversation, he saw dozens of messages sent over the past few hours. They shifted from furious insults to desperate pleas, and finally to total submission. Zhou Yan, Lin Yu, I was wrong. Truly wrong. I should never have insulted you. Zhou Yan, give back my flint. I will trade you my most valuable possessions for it. Zhou Yan, this is everything I got from opening an SSS-Rank treasure chest. Please give it back. I am freezing stiff and I need fire. Lin Yu looked at the screenshot of Zhou Yan's backpack. It showed 3 units of glass and 5 units of iron ore. Zhou Yan had been lucky enough to find an SSS-Rank treasure chest. Lin Yu already owned a campfire. As long as he fed it 1 unit of wood each day, it burned endlessly. The flint had become dead weight, taking up backpack space. Trading a useless item for his opponent's best resources. That was an excellent deal. Lin Yu trade. On the other side, seeing those 2 words almost brought Zhou Yan to tears. Without hesitation, he placed the glass and iron ore onto the trade bar. Ding. Trade successful. Lost. Flint times 1. Obtained. Glass times 3. Iron ore times 5. After the trade, Zhou Yan sent one final message. Zhou Yan, Lin Yu, you are ruthless. I will remember this. Lin Yu chuckled softly. Zhou Yan had suffered a total loss. This trade had heavily favored him. The savage survival world could reshape personalities or simply bring out people's true nature. Someone mild-mannered in real life could reveal their darker instincts here. Lin Yu tapped Zhou Yan's avatar. Block. He wanted nothing more to do with someone so calculating and full of negative, twisted mindsets. Lin Yu stood and walked toward the campfire. Though he possessed the SSS-Rank talent hunger resistance, his appetite remained unchanged. He pulled the fresh rabbit meat obtained from the earlier hair decomposition out of his backpack. The rabbit meat was healthy pink with clear grain and evenly distributed fat layers. He chopped thin wooden sticks with his iron axe, skewered the meat, and held it over the campfire. Flames licked the meat's surface. Within 2 minutes, fat began to melt. Golden grease dripped down onto the charcoal below. Sizzle. Small bursts of sparks flared upward. A rich, overpowering meat aroma filled the stone house. It smelled far stronger than eagle, snake, or wolf meat. Wild animal fat heated by fire released an irresistible scent. Lin Yu swallowed. He rotated the skewer for even cooking. The outer layer turned golden, brown, and crisp, while the inner flesh stayed tender. 10 minutes later, the meat was ready. Lin Yu picked up the skewer, blew on the hot meat, and took a big bite. Crunch. The crisp outer skin shattered between his teeth. Hot, savory juice burst across his tongue. The rabbit meat was incredibly tender, barely needing chewing before sliding down his throat. No salt, no cumin, no seasonings of any kind. Yet this primitive, pure meat flavor became supreme delicacy in this frozen world. Lin Yu ate the meat completely, even licking scraps off the wooden skewer. Ding. You have eaten cooked rabbit meat. Stamina recovering rapidly. Ding. You gained 2 hours of mild cold resistance. Warmth surged from his stomach and spread through every limb. He felt he could survive out in the blizzard without his leather armor for 10 odd minutes. Content. He patted his stomach and tossed the skewer into the fire. He glanced at the upper right system clock. 23 hours, 58 minutes, and 10 seconds. Less than 2 minutes remained until midnight. Lin Yu steadied his breathing, his expression growing focused. The daily midnight random talent evolution was his greatest advantage in this savage world. First, he had unlocked SSS-Rank hunger resistance, solving his initial survival crisis. On day 1, he gained E-Rank strength enhancement, boosting his base stats. On day 2, he obtained C-Rank double blessing, doubling basic material acquisition efficiency. On day 3, D-Rank toxin resistance made him immune to green mamba venom and raised his overall poison tolerance. On day 4, the first day after the newbie protection period ended, he received C-Rank dead eye marksmanship, filling his long-range combat weakness. Tonight was the second day after newbie protection ended. The disaster still raged, and tomorrow would bring more minus 30-degree cold. Grant me something truly useful, Lin Yu silently wished. Seconds ticked away. 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Midnight. The instant the clock rolled over, the cold mechanical system announcement boomed inside his mind. Ding. Infinite. Evolution talent activated. Randomizing today's talent. Ding. Congratulations. You have obtained F. Rank talent. Cold resistance. F. Rank talent. Cold resistance. Effect. Your cold tolerance is greatly increased. You are immune to cold. Debuff effects above minus 40 degrees Celsius. Body. Heat loss reduced by 80%. A warm current welled out of nowhere, running up his spine and spreading through every limb. Chills seeping through door cracks now felt merely cool against his skin. He walked over to the wooden door and pressed his palm against the frigid stone wall. No stinging pain, no numb stiffness. This is amazing. In this minus 30-degree cold wave disaster, this F. Rank talent was worth far more than many C. Rank or even B. Rank combat talents. It was still deep night. He returned to his wooden bed, pulled the rabbit hide over himself, and closed his eyes. 8 a.m. Lin Yu opened his eyes. Only dark, red embers remained in the bonfire inside the stone hut. He tossed one unit of wood into the fire pit, and flames flared back to life. He took a piece of fresh rabbit meat from his backpack, skewered it on a wooden spit, and held it over the fire. Fat dripped down, and the rich aroma of roasted meat filled the air. Lin Yu opened the regional chat channel. Current outdoor temperature, minus 38 degrees Celsius. Zone 95, 27 population, 5,102/10,000. More than half the population was dead. Overnight, over 1,000 more people had perished in this frigid winter night. Messages scrolled extremely slowly in the channel. Li Jie, at this temperature, even urine freezes solid. How is anyone supposed to survive? I can't feel my hands or feet anymore. Zhang Shuai, if only I could awaken a flame talent. I could go out hunting for treasure chests in this weather. Qian Duo, nonsense. Visibility is terrible out there. Going outside is suicide. Even if you resist the cold, you'll get lost. Su Yueshi, can anyone actually head outside? If someone could gather supplies, we might stand a chance. Wang Meng, stop daydreaming. Huddle in your shelters and wait for the end. Despair hung heavy over every survivor. Lin Yu closed the regional chat channel. His rabbit meat had turned golden brown. He pulled off the wooden spit and bit into it heartily. Crispy outer skin mixed with juicy tender flesh quickly filled his empty stomach. Ding. You have eaten roasted rabbit meat. Gain minor cold resistance lasting 2 hours. Warmth spread through his body. Lin Yu stood up and put on his leather armor. With his F. Rank cold resistance talent, the cold, defensive properties of his leather armor, plus the cold, resistance buff from the rabbit meat. The minus 38-degree wasteland could no longer stop him. He slung his primary repeating crossbow at his waist and picked up his sharp iron axe in his left hand. He walked to the door and lifted the bolt. Creak. The thick wooden door swung open. Gale, force wind carrying dense snow burst straight into the stone hut. Lin Yu stepped across the threshold. Snow piled up past his knees. The wind stung his face, yet warmth locked firmly inside his body kept his blood circulating smoothly. No stiffness set in. His movements remained nimble. It works. Lin Yu stepped out of his shelter. The snow lay deep, reaching above his knees. Ice chunks whipped toward him amid howling gales. His F. Rank cold resistance talent activated instantly. Heat loss was forcibly suppressed. The faint warmth inside his leather armor stayed trapped against his skin. Lin Yu flexed his limbs. His joints showed no stiffness, and his blood flowed steady and strong. Battling the blizzard, he trudged to the leeward side of the stone hut. A beast trap lay quiet in the snow hollow. Its fine, steel jaws stood open. The fresh snake meat on its trigger plate had frozen hard as stone, coated in a layer of white frost. No footprints marked the surrounding snow. Still no catch. Lin Yu felt no disappointment. In this bone, chilling minus 38-degree cold, every living creature on the wasteland starved. Sooner or later, prey would come drawn by the scent of meat. He turned and gazed over the endless white wasteland. Visibility was abysmal. Everything beyond 10 meters blurred into a white chaos. If you lost your way in this weather, even with cold resistance, you would eventually succumb out in the snow. Lin Yu gripped his sharp iron axe. Every dozen steps he took, he chopped a deep mark into dead tree trunks along his path. Deep snow hampered his movement. He advanced steadily, his mind sharp and focused. After walking roughly 200 meters, an extremely faint rustle came from behind a snow dump ahead. Lin Yu halted at once. Crouching low, he used the storm for cover and circled slowly around the snow mound. At the root of a dead tree huddled 5 snow white bundles. They would have been nearly invisible against the snow if they had not been gnawing on frozen bark. Their fur blended perfectly with the surrounding snow. These were 5 hares. They were noticeably larger than the gray hare caught in his trap the night before. The mother hare in the center was plump like a meat ball, her powerful hind leg muscles bulging, ready to explode into motion. A pale blue status panel floated before Lin Yu's eyes. Snow hare beast rank. Early stage tier 1 description. A mutant hare adapted to extreme cold. Its fur grants exceptional camouflage and cold protection. Its powerful hind legs allow it to bound at high speed across snow. Its meat is delicious and rich in calories. Status: starving. Sensing danger, the hare's ears shot straight upward. They possessed extremely sharp threat perception. The mother hare pushed hard with her hind legs, sending snow flying, and bounded more than 3 meters in an instant. The other 4 hares fled right behind her, scattering in different directions. So fast, Lin Yu's agility stat was low. He could never outrun these natural creatures of the snow, but he held his ground. He let go of the iron axe, letting it drop into the snow, and reached for his waist. His pitch, black primary repeating crossbow slipped into his hands. He only had 5 poison-tipped bolts. Wasting them on hares would be reckless. He quickly drew 5 ordinary bolts sharpened from wolf fangs and loaded them one by one into the crossbow's magazine. Click. The mechanism cocked. The snow hares were already more than 10 meters away, about to vanish into the blizzard. Lin Yu raised the crossbow and leveled it. His C-rank talent dead, eye marksmanship activated. The raging wind and snow seemed to freeze for a split second in his sight. His muscle memory adjusted automatically into the perfect firing stance. He barely needed to aim consciously. His fingers squeezed the trigger repeatedly. Twang, 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 twang. The bowstring vibrated with dull thuds. 5 wolf fang bolts tore through the snowstorm as 5 dark streaks. Within 30 meters, guaranteed hit. Thud, 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 thud. Sharp projectiles pierced flesh one after another. The plump mother hare, running at the front, jerked stiff mid-leap. A wolf fang bolt pierced clean through its throat. The impact sent it crashing into the snow, sliding 2 meters across the surface. The other 4 snow hares were all shot through the neck. Instant kills. Every bolt struck a fatal spot. Lin Yu lowered the crossbow and exhaled a cloud of white breath. This talent paired with a repeating crossbow is absolutely devastating, Lin Yu thought to himself. Without the primary repeating crossbow, he could never have hunted these snow hares relying on speed alone. Even with the crossbow, without his C-rank dead, eye marksmanship, landing accurate shots would have been impossible. He picked up his iron axe and tramped through the snow forward. 5 snow hare carcasses lay on the ground. Blood spilled out only to freeze into red ice fragments in the bitter cold. System decompose. Lin Yu swept his iron axe across each corpse. White light flashed in succession, and system notifications echoed in his mind. Ding. Decomposition successful. You obtain fresh snow, hare meat *15. You obtain snow, hare pelt *5. Lin Yu opened his backpack and checked the item stats. Fresh snow, hare meat rank. Mid, grade tier 1 description. Firm, fat, rich meat. Consuming it greatly relieves hunger and grants moderate cold resistance lasting 4 hours. Snow, hare pelt rank. Mid, grade tier 1 description. Premium natural cold weather material. Its dense down can be crafted into cold, resistant clothing or warm inner linings. A huge harvest. 15 units of meat would keep him well fed for days. On top of that, the 5 snow hare pelts were high-value strategic supplies. They would drive everyone in the trading channel wild with envy. Lin Yu looked up. The blizzard still raged, growing fiercer the farther one traveled from the shelter. He hung his crossbow back at his waist and gave up venturing deeper. Instead, he headed for the marked dead trees to gather more lumber before returning. Lumber was a critical resource, and he would need plenty of it for future shelter upgrades. He spent roughly 5 hours gathering wood *350. It was not that he chopped slowly. Dead trees had grown scarce near his shelter. To find more, he would have to travel deeper into the white wasteland. Reluctantly, Lin Yu turned back toward his shelter. Back inside the stone hut, he bolted and latched the heavy wooden door. The bonfire burned steadily, keeping the interior comfortably warm. Lin Yu took off his leather armor and sat beside the fire. He skewered 1 unit of fresh snow hare meat on a wooden spit and began roasting it. With time to spare, he opened the regional chat channel again. Current outdoor temperature, minus 40 degrees Celsius. Zone 95, 27 population. 4,890/10,000. The death toll kept climbing. Messages scrolled very slowly, most filled with cries of despair. Li Jie, minus 40 degrees. Ice is forming inside my thatched hut. Can anyone spare me some food? I'm barely holding on. Zhang Shuai, buddy, why keep struggling? Better to end it quickly. Li Jie, thanks for the thought, man. But I think I can hang on a little longer. Su Yueshi, everyone hold on. If you upgrade your shelter to a thatched hut or log cabin, stock enough food, and maintain a fire, you can survive. Wang Ming, easy for you to say. How are we supposed to get all those things? Qian Duo, listen up everyone. Trade supplies to boost your odds of staying alive. Li Ergu, anyone with extra supplies, give them to me for free. If you're ready to die, hand over your stuff instead of letting it go to waste. Lei Kuang at Li Ergu, hand over all your wood to me right now. Li Ergu, Boss Lei, don't keep squeezing only me. I have almost nothing left. Zhou Yin, if anyone has surplus supplies, it's only Lin Yu. Lin Yu ignored the messages. He let out a cold snort. Once this cold wave disaster passed, if he ever crossed paths with Lei Kuang, Li Ergu, and Zhou Yin out in the wilderness, they would learn firsthand what his primary repeating crossbow plus dead eye marksmanship could do. His bolts were not made of soft dough.